In the stream. Okay, now I'm in the stream. Wait, hold up. Let me get the beats going. Gotta have the. That's why. Gotta have the beats. I gotta get some background music for this. Oh snap! I think I just turned them off. Okay. Going. No, it's popped up. I think we're good. Oh yeah. We're good. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good, chat. We're here, baby. Can I get a one? One if y'all can hear me. Agency's popping. Oh my goodness. Agency's popping. And I don't know how I'm gonna do this for the next couple days. To be honest, we'll probably just do live shows every day. That's what I'm thinking. I was gonna wait, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll wait for news. And then it was like pouring in. I'm like, all right, let's just go live. I appreciate the ones. I see y'all. Blade, MFE, Lions Live Wire. I like that. That's a cool name. What do you got? Shoes on there? Oh no, that's a hat. Wait, I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know what that is. Is that a cat? I don't know. Come on, Hunter or Reader. Chat. All right, let's start there. Let's start there, man. So first off, this was a sad day. Well, actually, no, it wasn't a sad day. So Graham Glasgow re-signed. Let's start with the Lions news. We'll get into everything. I also have, and also let me know, like if y'all see something go down, let me know, because I have like different things pulled up to try to track free agency, but there's a chance that y'all see stuff first, because usually you do. Usually you guys tag me. You're like, oh man, you missed this. But anyway, so Graham Glasgow re-signed. We got that out of the way. That was great. It was awesome to see that. I didn't expect it to happen that early. And actually, I guess it was before the tampering period even began. I wasn't even thinking about that. So they got that done. Boom, out of the way. Felt good. I like it. All right, we'll get the contract details soon. Leonard Williams, we'll talk about it. I'm not as high on Leonard Williams. I like him. Now, again, the issue that we have is the price point, right? Trying to figure out what that is. I like him, though. He's a good player. Like, I wouldn't sit here and tell you Leonard Williams ain't a great player. He's a good player to me that has a lot of the traits of a great player. That's how I feel when I watch Leonard Williams. So I like him. But anyway, so that thing goes down. Shout out to Pride Time being in the building. Oh my goodness, man. It's been a minute. How you doing, man? Grover Stewart. Hey, man. Now we talking. And we got, look today. So Graham Glasgow video, bam. I'm watching other players as well. We have to dive into some other options as well. I think we have to start with guard first, though. Christian Wilkins got a bag. He did. Now, I'm going to be honest. So I watched Christian Wilkins this morning for really the first time, because there was hype. Y'all were spamming in the chat, and I liked him. Again, I liked him, didn't love him necessarily. I could see the fit, though. Like, I bought into that. I was like, okay, I can see the fit. I can see how that makes sense. Actually, I've saved so many clips. I don't have them on here, but we can throw them up. I think we might pull small 22 while we're live here, because when things get dry, we might as well. So Graham Glasgow gets re-signed. Bam, that drops. That's awesome. And then the big one was most recently Jonah Jackson gets the deal from the LA Rams. And we've heard the initial number, which was higher than what I'll say this, it was higher than what I thought. Yesterday, I was like, I don't think he can command that type of money. We were talking about it yesterday with Easy, and this is the first initial report, so I guess it could be a little bit different, but I'll throw this on the screen. Here we have a little article of it, if anybody's unaware of what that initial number is looking like for Jonah Jackson, because that was really the big domino. I think a lot of us expected Graham to be back, but we weren't sure. And if I thought he'd be back, but if there was one thing that would shake things up, it'd probably be this guy, and that'd be Jonah Jackson. And you can see Rams to sign Jonah, $51 million deal. And I think from what we know, man, higher than Kevin Dotson. Hold up. But from what we know, I think the guaranteed money is actually what I thought like the per year would look like. So it was way higher than what I expected. Now, I'll say this. With that price point, I would not have done that. So I think for our sake, even if we just talk about like, oh, there's other options, and I want to talk about some other options too. Clearly, it feels like draft is going to probably be the most likely area which the Lions go to try to fix that. But even free agency, I think they're still going to add somebody. Still got to keep an eye on some of these exclusive rights guys. I think KO's one of those. I think KO will probably be back too. But why didn't we just sign him? So yeah, he got that big deal. And to me, like, I wouldn't have given him that number to Ken's question. I think that was way too high. I think there's pros and cons with Jonah. Like, we talk about the diversity and scheme, and there's a guy that I want to talk about because I think he brings some of that too. There's actually a couple that are available still as free agents from what I know that I think the Lions could still go after. But at the same time, I don't think we've seen the improvement. We also know that he's missed some time. He's also he's like a solid pass protector, but he's really never taken massive strides there. He feels so similar. So to me, it's like, I would not have given him that number amount. So I was pretty shocked when I saw that. Obviously, congratulations, Jonah, man. I'm happy for him. That's awesome. I just wouldn't have done it if I was the Lions. So now it's like, okay, we're moving to the next step. And once he said number, it kind of made the decision easy. If it was like he was getting, and again, it's the initial report, if he was getting 11 a year and that was it, I'd be like, okay, now we could still take something from this. They didn't want to bring him back. I'm a little bit more like confused, but this one doesn't confuse me at all. It just makes sense. I wouldn't have brought him back on that number. And yeah, again, to me, it's like, hey, he's been with Hank Fraley since he's got here, right? He's got the same offensive line coach. I think there is a point where you want to see steps, or you want to see significant steps. He also doesn't bring much scheme flexibility for us. Maybe he just hasn't asked that of him. We did see him play center a little bit, so I'll give him that credit. But yeah, so that was just a deal that I thought was too much. I think we'll probably start signing people tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count it out. Like, I always think back to like when we signed like Nick Williams one time at like 11 or something at night. And last year, CD Deuce, I can remember driving home, it was like 9 p.m. and we signed CD Deuce. So they're all over the place. It's like hard to get a good gauge of when things are actually going to go down. But yeah, I mean, it's just a tampering period right now. We've got a lot of the big deals that have kind of moved through. And I don't think the Lions are going to be in that market a ton. But really, to be honest, it only takes one. I mean, most teams aren't making two big splash deals. You get one or you don't most of the time. And there's still guys out there that could be that. So I wanted to start with that news for Jonah Jackson. There's so much to talk about. And I think we also need to talk about some of these other offensive guard potential options just a little bit. Really, like, what is the path here for the Lions now? We just got news. Adam Schefter, Patriots informed Devontae Parker they are releasing him Wednesday, and he will now be given permission to talk to other teams. All right, we see you. Sorry, Chad. I'm sorry. There's CD Deuce coming back. I'd love that. Do we have news on that? Hold up. We got news on that. How much did he get per year? So yeah, $51 million. I mean, it wouldn't be all guarantees, but the guaranteed money was like $11 million per year. So 51 divided by 3. Hold up. No, that's like 16 mil a year. I think it's like, well, no, they'd be a little bit more than 16 a year. Yeah, it'd be a little more than 16 a year. So it's like what, 16.5? No, 17? Somewhere in that range. That's what I'm saying, okay? Somewhere in that range. Okay. Oh, just your news. Okay. See, I'm on board with you there. I'd like to have him back. But and the only team, I mean, I'm really keeping an eye on Philly there because it seems like Philly now wants him back. From what I've heard, they want to have him back now. But yeah, so that was the deal with Jonah Jackson. That was the big domino that fell, and I think it does make sense. Like, if we would have seen him take like big strides this past year, I would have been like more like, oh, make this happen, because we just got this deal. Adam Schefter, Panthers are giving Dolphins guard Robert Hunt 5-year, $100 million, so $20 million per year, which would be a little bit more of a bump, which was expected to what Jonah apparently was reported. Also, it's 5-year, that's probably a way out, but there's 63 of that's guaranteed, so that's basically double of what's guaranteed here for Jonah Jackson. And for Robert Hunt, like I got to a point where I was looking at this once the Jonah Jackson deal got done, and I asked myself, I said, is there a chance then for free agency, the Lions look at it and say, okay, if we want to find our answer in free agency, that they just say, if the number is not a big difference, let's just go give Robert Hunt a bigger deal. Because Robert Hunt, to me, is significantly just, he's more proven, he's been more consistent, he's a better offensive lineman, he's very scheme diverse, and he's a better pass protector. So it's like, what if we just sign him to a little more money? Like, if you're going to throw that money anyway, you might as well just go get a really good, that also played right tackle when he got drafted, former high draft pick. So maybe he's also got a future there. But obviously that didn't happen. Panthers threw big money at him, right? So now it's like, okay, here's what's remaining. And chat, we're going to get to a lot of stuff here. We're going to be live for a little while. But I just want to talk about this because I'm just keeping out because I'm assuming news is going to pop. Bears still trying to copy us. Hey, I'm saying the running back market, all of a sudden, a year ago, it's like, oh, no one's going to sign him. All of a sudden, we put some investment there. We're cooking teams. Everybody wants the dang running back. By the way, Packers got Josh Jacobs. They're letting Aaron Jones go. Chat, give me a 1. Is that an upgrade? Put a 1. Is that a downgrade? Put a 2. It's interesting. I think Josh Jacobs is probably a better runner by far. But in terms of like what always scared me about Aaron Jones was his receiving ability. That's what always got me. That's what always got me, man. And to honestly not have to deal with that anymore, I'm cool with that. But he also has the injury stuff. I feel like that's gonna be mixed. Shoot, what else was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk guards. Shout out to my man, Ken. I think Ken was showing some love here. I got to put this up. Those here are totally the most studied Philly. Hey, I appreciate you, man. I've watched you grow tremendously, and I want to make sure you know how much I personally appreciate your hard work. Man, I do appreciate that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you, Ken. Appreciate the love there. I mean, shoot, this is to me, in a lot of ways, the most fun time of the year. By the way, also, it's very mixed right now. A lot of 1s, a lot of 2s. Think Jones is a better overall player. See, that's interesting. 2 off last year. Okay, I can see that. And is AJ Dillon a free agent? I think he's a free agent too. But I don't remember what I was going to say. All right, so with the guard position, there's a couple guys that still intrigue me. Now, if I say somebody that's already been signed, Chat, please say something. Shout out to my man Mike in the building. Please be like, hey, that dude's not available anymore. So there's a couple guys. First guy, and this guy, I watched him a week ago, and then I revisited him today. Just for the scenario that, hey, what if Jonah does leave? Damian Lewis, 26. He's nearly 27 years old, out of Seattle, 6'3", 332. And we can throw up film. Like if there's a guy that gets signed, or if we want to talk about someone, I could just put it in the background. We could do that. I have saved clips, but we'll use those if we actually sign him. And then I go to a video, I can just throw them up for like, oh, look, there's some videos. But to me, Damian Lewis is one of those guys that could be interesting if you're talking about you want to try to potentially find your answer in free agency, because Evan Brown is available. He is. Now, I don't like Evan Brown as a starter at guard. I would love him for depth and flexibility. I'm on board with that. I wouldn't sign him and expect him to be my starter at guard. Could he? Probably. Right, for a few games, but I wouldn't want that. So to your point, Agent 006, if we do that, definitely got to take then to me the draft approach. Like it's got to be, okay, we're doing this, but the draft is where we're going to find the long-term answer. Appreciate you, Tyson. I see you in the building. How you doing, man? Holmes and company are playing chess in Homes We Trust. That's what I'm saying. I feel like at this point, most Lions fans are kind of chill about it, like, and not popping off early. We're going to talk about Reisner too, and Zeitler, because I like Zeitler a lot. But I feel like Lions fans are kind of chill about it because they already know that Brad Holmes is about to work some magic, and it's all about the draft with them. Hey, Dose, do you think they will sign Hunter? I'm not counting it out. I really think if there's a splash that happens, I think either it's going to be a trade for a corner. I'm not counting out Danielle Hunter. I'm really not, because Danielle Hunter would make sense. Again, he's not like necessarily top of my list. I don't know if I was giving big money out, but he'd be up there. He'd be up there. I'm not counting it out. I've heard there's interest. I've heard, we're one of the teams that are interested in him, and that also we were one of the teams that were interested in a guy like Christian Wilkins. So if you're telling me that they're interested in these front four guys, absolutely, I think he goes into that for sure. And I wouldn't count it out. I would not count that out, especially with what they've had the last couple of years. Like you can also look at it from what the Lions have had to deal with. It's been a mess trying to figure out someone opposite of Aiden Hutchinson just for consistency. If they were just like, nah, forget it, we're just going to go get a dude that can play, I got you. Graham Glasgow, 3 years, $20 million was a steal. All the other guards overpaid. It was a beautiful deal. This is a beautiful deal. And I'm sure there's going to be an out in year 3, so it'll set up really well for us. Hey, Dan, I just heard the Lions are in intense talks for Hunter. Length of the contract may be a sticking point. That makes sense. I think that Brad Holmes should pass on that and sign him. Should pass on that. Should push pass on that. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, because if you sign Danielle Hunter, right, it's probably like I would say it's probably like a 2-year kind of thing where they probably want to get it where like, okay, he can be locked in for 2 years, but we don't want to lock him in beyond that, because they're probably also then keeping in mind like where their rookie deals are about to go and who's going to need extensions. I would say that's probably where that hiccup would be. I would think, we don't want to have him locked in through 3 years necessarily. But at the same time, you're giving out that money, like you're paying him, bro. You're paying that. He's going to be top of the market. Shout out to Ken with the new membership. I appreciate you. We're going to have some new perks coming with that. So stay tuned. Marshawn Lattimore, Greg Newsome, or Snead. For me, I would go Greg Newsome of those three. I would take Greg. He's the one I like the most of those three. Honestly, though, I really like Snead too, so I'm cool with either. Snead, I did hear, has some kind of like ankle thing that he's dealing with. I guess it kept him out of training camp this past year, so there might be some medical stuff in the background that I didn't really even know of as just a fan, but I heard it today, I think, on NFL Network, so that's just something to kind of keep an eye on. But of those three, yeah, I'd go with Greg Newsome. Okay, so yeah, Damian Lewis, that's the first guy. Damian Lewis is super interesting to me because he plays in an offense. So here's what I'll say. So if you guys saw the Graham Glasgow video earlier, one thing that we talked about yesterday was offensive. Having a guy like Jonah Jackson next to Taylor Decker was like a really good match of skill set. Like you have Taylor Decker, finesse, really good mover, light on his feet. He's kind of that at left tackle. Then at left guard, you have Jonah Jackson, who, while he can move well, he still carries athleticism. He's like he will drive you off your point of attack. So you get a nice real balance there. And you get the same balance on the right side with Penei Sewell and Graham Glasgow. I think that Damian Lewis would carry that over. Also, you could really make a case Damian Lewis is just a straight up better pass protector than Jonah Jackson. Maybe not by miles, but even if you just went by the stats this past season, even if you went just in pressure rate allowed, Damian Lewis would have been at 4.75% to Jonah Jackson's 5.5%. So just statistically speaking, you could easily argue that he was just a better pass protector. Maybe not by miles, but just by a little bit, he's a better pass protector. Again, age is still there too, where he could get a multi-year deal. He could be like a future piece you look at. And then in the run scheme, I think there's instances, especially at his build at being 330 plus, where he's a better people mover than Jonah Jackson. But you pull back a little bit in terms of some of the athleticism that Jonah Jackson carries. Now, he played an offense that did a lot of zone rushing, so you had a lot of movement, and he was capable. I would struggle with him, I think, a little bit in some of like the stretch runs, and we want to get really wide. If you're pulling him, that's one thing. If you're asking him to get out to the sideline right before then working upfield, he might be a little bit limited there. But I think Damian Lewis is one of those dudes that I'm circling right now at 6'3", 332, that's 26 years old, as one of the potential options. Any word on Amon-Ra's deal? I've heard nothing since the video we did a while back. I've heard nothing since then. I expect it to get done. But yeah, I've heard nothing on that since that time. Jonah Jackson, 65 overall. All right, now we're good. Glasgow. See, this is good because when Easy was in here and I plugged my mic, I couldn't hear nothing. But I ain't got to worry about that. Glasgow ranked 8th. Yeah, he was an elite run blocker. And the thing is with Glasgow, it was really one really bad game, like against Green Bay. And outside of that, he was really solid. Now, Glasgow had a much higher pressure rate, not much higher, but like a % higher pressure rate allowed. So I think you could argue that Jonah was maybe a little more consistent. But again, I think it's not a big stretch. So Damian Lewis, second guy, because I was going to talk about Robert Hunt, but he got signed like right before we went live. John Simpson. I feel like I didn't give John Simpson any attention, but I should. Hunter to the Bears. Wait, did that just happen? The Texans are signing Jeff Okudah. Okay, that did just happen. Jeff Okudah to the Texans on a 1-year deal. Man, that's the right cornerback room to be a part of, bro. What they got out of their cornerbacks this past season, Tavier Thomas, I think that's how you say his name. Obviously, they have Derek Stingley now. That cornerback room, a Steven Nelson, like, hey, they got dudes playing at a really high level, like some of their best football. So that's the room to be a part of. Now, they lost Jonathan Greenard to the Minnesota Vikings, which, by the way, Minnesota, what are we doing? All right. Jonathan Greenard, I was cool with that. And then you're going to go sign Andrew Van Ginkel. All right. So now I got Rad and being like, dang, they took our dude. And then immediately it's like, okay, now we're going to go Van Ginkel too. We're taking your guy. So it's just like Vikings. This is why I don't like you. This is why I'm happy that Kirk Cousins left. I hope they roll out Sam Darnold. That's all I'm going to say. James, I see you with the membership. I appreciate you, man. Shout out to the members, man. I appreciate that. I'd like to sign. I'd sign Zeitler, but would also absolutely. Now Zeitler is like a little bit of a different to me. He's to what you just said, Agent. He's on a different. And I'll put this up here because this is the news. He's on a different level. Like Zeitler right now is a top tier pass protector. He's played a lot of snaps recently. So even though he's old, 34 years old, he's continued to play a lot. He also probably wouldn't demand a multi-year deal. I think Zeitler would be an awesome guard. The downside is that he consistently mainly just plays at right guard. So if you feel comfortable with pushing Graham to left guard, then drafting someone that you feel like could eventually be the guy there, that would be awesome. I would be on board with that because I think Zeitler's an animal. Like he's an animal, especially as a pass protector. You're getting a massive improvement there, and your pass protection on the offensive line would go way up. So I love that. I'm still on the Kevin Zeitler train. I think the years could make a ton of sense, especially if you're going to draft someone. But if you're not going to, or even if you do, but it's not like a massive investment, you're still, again, trying to find a potential answer in free agency. John Simpson's the other guy to me. Similar to Damian Lewis, 6'4", 330, super long arms, 11-inch hands. And when you watch Baltimore, right, I think of Baltimore, I think all the mobility, I think of Lamar Jackson kind of running around. But for a guy that's 26 years old, he's another guy that there's a lot of flexibility in what they do offensively. He's also a very effective pulling offensive lineman. He's a former 4th-round pick. It seems like he's starting to figure it out a little bit, figuring out at left guard in particular. He would be the other guy, him and Damian Lewis. I think those two right now make a ton of sense of, you could go the route of going like, okay, I want to go a little bit younger. And maybe you go with dude we talked about yesterday. I can't think of his name now. Guy from Arizona. I'm losing his name. You could go that route, and then maybe you have like a bridge, but the likelihood of that guy becoming a starter is very unlikely. So you're really putting a lot of emphasis on the draft picks got to hit. You're hoping the draft pick hits early. That way he can just become the backup. Or you can go with the veteran. Kevin Zeitler is like the one that's sticking out right there. Or you go with one of these guys, and there's a potential that they could end up being the starter. You're just paying a little bit more to that. And these two, to me, stand out. That those two guys could potentially have that in their bags a little bit. So I'm keeping an eye on those two. I don't know if there's anybody else that I want to hit on from the offensive line. We're going to talk defensive line here in a second. But I think those are the main two. Because I think the other one start. We talked about John Feliciano yesterday. He'd be one of those vets that you could possibly sign. Maybe could start. Not going to be the future though. And then my dude from I muted it again. All right, we're good. This thing just wants to mute all the time now. I don't know. All right. This is okay. Mike's still good. Hunter hasn't signed. People are just saying random stuff. It's all good. Hey, I get it. I got my phone here. I got the things up. I can hear it. So I'm listening. I haven't heard nothing yet, but I'm listening. Hunter will be a Wednesday last minute announcement. Yeah. And you know what's so everybody was like live today, which probably shout everybody in the chat. And everybody's talking about Hunter. They're the team that's like, well, we don't want Hunter here. Everybody's talking about Danielle Hunter. So it's gonna be real interesting. Check the Bears page. No news of Hunter signing with them. Yeah, the Bears, Did the Bears make a splash at edge today? I thought they did, but I could be off on that one. I don't think they did. There we go. There we go. Switch my mic over. Make sure. Gotcha. Yeah, it's switching to my headset. I don't know. I was doing that yesterday too. All right, we should be good. Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about defensive line a little bit. So Arik Armstead, or it might be pronounced Eric Armstead. I don't know. I heard someone say Eric, and they were a Niners fan. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's Eric, and I've been saying this wrong. They signed Swift. That's it. So Swift. Someone brought that up earlier with the running back position. They added Swift, which again to me just feels like more like a steal. Like, okay, y'all gonna add DeAndre Swift. We signed David Montgomery to what deal? Like, come on, bro. We stole that. I heard a rumor that Hunter was going to the Niners, and the Niners fans want him, so I know that. What do I think about Swift going to the Bears? Doesn't concern me. I'll say that. I mean, for Swift, it'll be interesting. I think Swift's going to be fired up about it, right? Like, he gets to play his old team twice if he's healthy. On the flip side, like, I don't think there will be much. I don't think Gibbs will care too much about the habit. Look, I'm happy with what we got. Like, for us, like, it doesn't concern me. I guess I kind of understand it. They added Roschon Johnson last year. They had good running back play, and they really didn't have like a legitimate running back that they had added to that. Like, they didn't have a big time investment. So I guess it makes sense to like, hey, we ran the ball well, but we didn't have a real investment there. The flip side is now you seemingly are moving on from Justin Fields. I guess Caleb Williams can run, but it's going to be a lot different. So I think the run game naturally will probably take a step back. So it's like, let's go get a more talented back. And he's also a really good 1-2 with Johnson, who they drafted. Like, they could offset skill set. So it makes sense for them from that side. I wouldn't have given that kind of deal to Swift. Hey, David, look, I had to throw it out there. I wouldn't have given that deal to Swift. But Swift did play well last year. Now he's going behind a much worse offensive line. And you talk about a guy that I don't know what his numbers were. I got to believe they were pretty solid. After the season he had, they moved off it and they went and they traded for him. They moved off it and went to Saquon, who's had a lot of injuries. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, he'll give you some good games. Swift is he makes some big splash. He's a good running back. He deals with a lot of injuries, as we know. So it doesn't necessarily concern me. It makes sense for the Bears. They got a lot of money to spend, so they're just trying to add talent. But a 3-year deal too, like depending on how they set that up, that might not make any sense. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait, did you say Amsterdam? Hold up. Is that what people call him? Or you? Okay. Look, I get it because I can't. Anyway, Arik Armstead. I'm gonna call him Eric Armstead because they were saying Eric Armstead. I feel like Arik's wrong. I don't know. I got you, Armstead. Let's talk about Armstead a little bit. So Armstead was released last night, which to me, I was like, oh my goodness, I was so happy, Chad. I was so happy because Christian Wilkins, right? He signed his big deal today. I don't know. Maybe that's the nickname. Amsterdam. Hold up. Okay, we see you, Eric. Hey, but I was like so happy because I'm like, he adds so much. And I was actually texting Rad last night and I was trying to put together like a list. And I don't have it pulled up right now. I should actually pull it up. I was trying to put together like a list of like interior defense linemen and ranking them in my head. And I'll do that right now for you guys. I'll kind of rank them a little bit how I look at them. Interior defenders that are still available. So Chris Jones got his deal. Justin Madubuike, I think he returned to Baltimore on a big deal. Christian Wilkins obviously just got his big deal with the Raiders, which to me, again, I liked him. I didn't love him for that. Like, I can see why the Raiders did it. If you have a lot of cap space and you're trying to reset a little bit, you don't have a quarterback they were paying. I get it. For us, on that $110 million, again, we'll have to see how it's set up. But, dude, I wouldn't have given $110 million. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I would have done that. I understand the age, but I don't think I would have done it. So you got Leonard Williams available, who would not be my top. It would still be DJ Reader. I think he's an amazing fit. He's just coming off an injury, so maybe his price point drops. I think he's still available. You got Grover Stewart, who I like Grover Stewart. You got Sheldon Rankins. I think he's interesting too. And now you throw Armstead into that mix. And to me, man, Armstead at 6'7", 290. Now he would be much. And again, I think they gave him an extension. It was like a weird way that their financials were working out there. You could say he's in a decline just because of where his age at. He's also missed time. That's been a problem too. But when you talk about like pass rush ability, oh my goodness. This is a dude, like, I'm a huge fan of Armstead. So the fact that he came available, I think just gives us more options, which is awesome. But at the same time, like, I'm a huge fan of what this dude is. He's also still a pretty legitimate run defender. Like, even guys with much better size don't play the run as well as he does. So his slither, his ability to get to the ball, I was watching him again this morning just to kind of get a sense on that. Armstead to me would be like near the top of the list and guys available. And I'm trying to think of who. Daquan Jones, we could talk about him a little bit too, because Daquan Jones to me is even more interesting after watching him this morning, because he's actually a legitimate run defender. So Daquan Jones, I think, could be a perfect fit from Buffalo to kind of fit with what we have on the defensive line. Did I talk about Jonah yet? Is he worth 3 years, $51 million? We talked about it a little bit. I wouldn't have given him that money. For the Rams, I don't know how their salary cap's really set up here. I know that they're paying Cup. I guess they're not paying Puka. They just went out and signed a tight end. They re-signed both guards. I don't really know if they're paying a tackle. Are they paying a tackle? I don't know their financial situation. I wouldn't have paid him that. That's what I'll say. If the number was closer to 10 a year, I'd have been on board. But like for what I said yesterday about I don't expect him to get there, and then once he got to where he got money-wise, I was like, okay, I would have been off. I would have been off of that. So maybe there was interest, maybe there wasn't, but I definitely would have been off once I saw what that number hit. I was already a little shaky on it. And the real thing for me is here is like, as a fan that tries to dive into as many players as I can, like I can get through like a solid amount. But the Lions, I mean, they have guys that do this, right? So they know who's available. They know all the guys that are available. So it's like they can just look at it and say, okay, we don't think that he's improved. They can believe that they know if there's answers out there, and they have a sense on everybody that's going to be available. So I think for them, it was even simpler. It was even more simple than that. Like, yo, we're not bringing this guy back. We're not going to pay him that. So to me, made a ton of sense. Rumor. Did I miss a rumor? What rumor happened? Autry signed with the Texans. Okay. Did that happen? Let me see. Texans, Jeff Okudah. I have that one. Devontae Parker. Dang, I haven't seen nothing yet. Wait, hold up. But there's also, let me see. Make sure, because y'all are throwing news. Let me see if something's happening. Free agency. I was using another website, which I might have to go back to because they were listing it for every team. Oh, Bryce Huff is signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Wait, we already saw that. That was a while ago. I guess that wasn't new though. That was just a big thing that happened because they're trying to trade their edge defenders, so they ended up bringing in Bryce Huff. So they're going to shop Hassan Reddick and those guys. So yeah, that's not breaking. Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe there was something I missed, but you guys saying Danico Autry was moved. I don't see anything about Autry. I didn't see anything either. But okay, we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, Danico Autry could fit. The thing is with Danico though, like to me, if you make a deal like that, I feel like you kind of have to move off of John Kaminsky. I'll also say this. So the guy, like I said, Daquan Jones, the thing that's interesting about him is that a guy that his size, you may kind of pigeonhole him into thinking that he's just an interior guy, but his skill set actually allows him to still kind of play that Danico Autry role. And even though he played limited snaps last year because he had the torn pec, he did return at the end of the season to play in the playoffs. And Daquan Jones probably had a better season last year than Danico Autry, to be honest with you, especially as a pass rusher. Like he's a pretty awesome pass rusher, but then he also gives you a lot more size where you could plug him in as like an interior defender alongside Nalim McNeil, and you could make that work much, much cleaner. So I actually like Daquan Jones a lot better than Danico Autry, so we'll see if something actually does happen there. They are trying to keep their cheap players. I mean, what do you mean? Like, you don't think, well, I don't know what you mean there. I think the re-signings will come. They're on their way. $17 million a year for McKinney. Autry, 2 years, $10 million to Houston. $10 million total or 10 a year? Yeah, I mean, he wasn't coming off a good year, so that's a big part of that. The Josh Jacobs Green Bay is interesting. Yeah, that is definitely interesting. It's like I don't know what they're doing there exactly. Autry Texans. Okay. Oh, Tim Twentyman cooking. Okay, Tim. I didn't even know that happened. Hold up. Maybe I should be looking at Tim. Tim's dropping the news. Oh, okay. Yeah. Xavier McKinney signing a 4-year deal with the Green Bay Packers. So they lost Darnell Savage to free agency, who, played pretty well this past year. Xavier McKinney now, I guess, is their replacement at safety. It always feels like they're trying to figure out safety. So they just went all in with that deal. Yeah. 17 a year. By the way, again, safety feels like, Xavier McKinney was the top of the market there, but safety, definitely we're seeing value. We're seeing value at every position, to be honest. Like, I think some of the idea that like certain positions don't have value is still true. Like, not as much, but honestly, like if it's a really good player, they're getting paid regardless of position. We should have drafted Gonzalez and then got Saquon. I'm a Gonzalez guy. So I'm not gonna argue with you there. That would honestly made more sense to just not get Campbell. Then you could have just moved a little bit and then just not got Campbell and made that happen. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Okay. What's the Lions rumors? Yeah, I haven't seen any rumors. I'm really not. Oh, wait, actually, hold up. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen any rumors for the Lions recently, but must be getting Snead or Danielle Hunter. Possibly. I mean, look, if we're just talking the big names, like I said, I wouldn't count them out. But yeah, Daquan Jones is someone that intrigues me. I also looked into A'Shawn Robinson, like a reunion with A'Shawn. Definitely wouldn't be a flashy deal. I think there's ways to make. Okay, so he got 2 years, $20 million. That makes more sense. That makes more sense than 10 total. I would think 10 a year would make more sense. That does. Okay, that makes sense. I see you. Okay, is that actually what it was? I just had a thing sent to me on that and I lost it. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me go back here. Actually, there's a lot of moves happening today. There's a lot of moves going on today. Let me see. Danico. Danico Autry, 2 years, $10 million. It sounds like 10 million. No. Texans are signing Autry 2 year, $20 million, and includes 10.5 guaranteed. Yeah, so I don't know what that first report was. I don't know what that was. So 10 million a year, it looks like, with half of that being guaranteed, basically. And then Darnell Savage is signing with the Green Bay Packers. No, not Packers. Excuse me. Darnell Savage is signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars from the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so that's the move that happened there. And then they're light at safety. Okay, so that's the latest news. Donnie, I see you. How you doing, man? Autry's still a stud. Autry's solid. Definitely wasn't near the top of my list. I mean, if I was going to go with that position, like I said, I think Daquan Jones makes more sense. I also would go Calais Campbell, but I don't even know if he's available anymore. Chaz, is Calais Campbell still available? Yes. Armstead to me is at the top. When I was putting together my list, I think he'd now be at the top of that list. Oh, right behind DJ Reader, but they're different types. But yeah, Armstead to me would be at the top of the list. Now, he's 30 years old, so I don't know how you'd make that work, but that also might make it a more valuable short-term deal. And if you could get a short-term deal done with Armstead, I think that'd be amazing. If you're talking about one of the splash deals that you could make happen, like he has the agility, the swim move. Like this guy's just he just eats as a pass rusher. So I think Parker only had 300 yards. Oh, Devontae Parker. Gotcha. Onwenu is the guard I wanted the whole time. Well, he could be. The only thing with Onwenu is I don't think you get a lot of flexibility. You kind of get, especially with what we have now on the offensive line, I think he fits more so with someone else, to be honest. Yeah, hold up. Let me get this pulled off. Yeah, I mean, Michael Onwenu is he's a really good gap scheme fit, but for what we are, especially now if you're getting Graham Glasgow, like I think the flexibility is key, but we definitely have a lot more zone blocking on the offensive line. I don't think Onwenu really fits that. I think he'd be kind of the opposite if he plugged in here. So I don't think Onwenu. It's kind of like who did they draft? The New England Patriots drafted a guy that was kind of like that recently too. So yeah, I don't think Onwenu necessarily would be someone that the Lions would be interested in, but I could be wrong. He did have a good season within that offense. I just don't think we'd be intrigued by Michael Onwenu. Sean Murphy Bunting, 3 years, $17.4 million to the Cardinals. Okay, now the Cardinals need a corner big time. They are super thin at corner. They're super young at corner too. So that makes sense that they would add a vet. They are all young at corner. Antonio Hamilton's a free agent. He was their best cornerback this last season. He's also over 30 years old. What if we trade Monty and his contract for an edge or DT and pick up Blake Cormer? Oh, dude, why did I read Cormer? I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. Corum. That sounds cool. I mean, I wouldn't move off of David Montgomery, but I see what you're saying. I wouldn't move off David. I thought David was awesome last year. So I don't have any interest to move on. I wouldn't be looking into something like that. But if you're saying you're trading his contract for an edge or DT, I don't think it'd be necessary to do that. I see what you're saying, because then you could get out the end of the deal. Like if someone was interested in that. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I like what David Montgomery did, so I'm not in a hurry to move off him. John Simpson, yeah, to me the guards that would make sense to fit, like if they could potentially be answers, would be John Simpson and Damian Lewis. And I think Damian Lewis is really interesting. John Simpson is actually a pretty good guard. Damian Lewis to me is the most interesting from Seattle, especially with what he's done in the past as well. I think on the defensive line too. So if we start to look at like kind of the less known options, these ones are kind of where I boarded the line of like, does it even make sense to add this player? We saw, I think Bilal Nichols got a deal from the Las Vegas Raiders. He got a pretty nice deal actually. That I could kind of see that on a defensive line that really wasn't that good for the Raiders. I think John Jenkins, 6'3", 327. He's pushing 35 years old. John Jenkins as a run defender is a pure nose tackle, doesn't bring much athleticism. Like he's the kind of guy that you really want him to play in the A gap. You don't want much outside of that, but he's a force. So maybe John Jenkins is a type that could fit in there. Mike Purcell from the Denver Broncos. I don't love him, but again, he's the guy that brings size. Raekwon Davis, if you want to go with another guy that's just massive, but he's young for the Miami Dolphins, maybe something like that. Brad Holmes need to start cooking because we're getting hungry. I don't know. Like the guys that have gotten signed to me aren't guys that I would be that interested in, to be honest. So we'll see. Like those guys are going to start going. To me, the guys that have went so far don't really interest me that much. But I get it. It's always fun to talk about deals. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Any news on Newsome? I've heard nothing on Greg Newsome. I've heard absolutely nothing. The only thing I heard was when like that became kind of a thing. But speaking of that, I'll look it up. Let me see if there's anything new. Devin Singletary. Giants are giving former running back Devin Singletary a 3-year, $16.5 million deal worth up to $19.5 million. Okay. Let me see. I haven't seen anything on Greg Newsome, though. Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything on Greg Newsome. I don't think there's any news going on with him. I don't know. That might be just more one of those things that was like, hey, it was fun to talk about, but reality is like the Browns trading him would be kind of crazy. Even though he's on the final year of his deal, trading a 23-year-old that's played consistent for 3 years would be kind of crazy. Monty not better than Henry. Stop it. I don't know. I haven't watched enough, honestly, of Derrick Henry to know. Derrick Henry's also in a much different stage of his career. Plus, I would also say David Montgomery. Oh, goodness, my lion fell. That can't be good. Hold up. That's not good. I need to pick that back up. That just feels like bad. That feels like bad energy. Let me get. Hold up. Oh my goodness. Why did I touch anything? Okay, hold up. There we go. Right like that. It's supposed to look cool. It's supposed to look like a shadow or something. My goodness. All right, but yeah, no, he's a perfect fit with Gibbs. Like I have no interest in moving off David Montgomery. I don't know why I would do that. What up, Dose? Hey, what up, Chloe Kitty? Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Henry's on the down slide. Yeah, definitely. I wish Jenkins had some pass rush. Yeah, me too. John Jenkins really doesn't bring like anything as a pass rusher. So, yeah, I'm with you there. He really doesn't bring any value there. So yeah, he'd be like one of those guys that you really have to like border the line of is it worth it? Maybe you could argue. I don't know. Maybe. I almost feel like you'd more so rather lean to like an A'Shawn Robinson because A'Shawn Robinson is limited as he is, especially once he gets out wide. A'Shawn Robinson at least can win. Like he has a way to win. He's not a third down piece either, but A'Shawn Robinson, he's always had an awesome body type for an interior defender. Even though he played a lot as kind of like a 5 technique this past year, he can win. Like he has the length, he has the power, the dude's a force. He can win. So, like, I don't see much of that with Jenkins. Plus, you get the age thing. So, he's interesting. Marshawn Nealon, the most Dan Campbell edge in the draft. Maybe. I've only watched a little bit of Marshawn Nealon, so I haven't seen enough to give a really good take on him yet. I'd have to go look at what my notes were for him, but I don't think I've watched enough of Marshawn. Let me see. 6'3", 267, long arms. So, there's that aspect. I always love when I see that. Yeah, I haven't seen enough of him, but we can talk about him. But I'll kind of stick to the free agency thing because I know stuff is going on. What is Holmes doing? I think Holmes is doing what's expected. I don't think anything's. Like I said, there's really been like nobody that's got signed, maybe outside of Van Ginkel, that I would have wanted to go after. But also, I can still make the case that signing Andrew Van Ginkel with having Derek Barnes and James Houston wouldn't have been worth it. Grover Stewart would be cool. I'd be on board with that. Yeah, I mean, look. When other moves happen, people want to see stuff get done. So I get it. But I'm in no rush for that. So I'm kind of just chilling on that. Let's see what else. We can actually do that. If you want me to recap some of the picks, I can pull them up. We can go through The free agency picks that have happened. We could do that. Yep, let's do it. Actually, I can pull up a list. I'll just share it on the screen. We can do that. PFF had a good one, so I'll just use that. Here we go. Kind of scroll through, look at some of these. So yeah, this was the one that happened recently. Nichols, 3 years, 21 million. I'm honestly surprised it got that high, to be honest. The Murphy Bunting one makes a ton of sense. LJ Collier, I think that one happened a little while ago. Yeah. Yeah, I think it happened a little while ago. Atlanta Falcons, Jonnu Smith. Okay, he was released. Anything here? Kirk Cousins was the big one. Now the Vikings got to figure out what the heck they're going to do at quarterback. Even though his full deal wasn't guaranteed, Kirk Cousins is a really darn good quarterback. So I would keep an eye on the Atlanta Falcons because to me, they had the best quarterback like in that division. Feels like hands down. So that's interesting. Baltimore Ravens here. Justin Madubuike had gotten his big deal. They haven't made much moves yet, though, either outside of that. Yeah. Hey, Bills is not even adding guys. They're just letting everybody go. So there's not a lot of flash. Taylor Rapp was slick though. I think Taylor Rapp was slick on this kind of deal. 3 years, 10 million. I think Taylor Rapp was a slick, nice little signing. He actually played well when he stepped in last year. I think that's a nice one. Deion Dawkins was extended, and then yeah, Cam Lewis. So they haven't really done much there. Okay, Carolina Panthers. Bradley Bozeman released, which was funny because we had just talked about him this morning as like comparing contracts. But I don't know. Was he on the third year of his contract? If he was, that would make sense because there was some. Yeah, I think he was. If he was on the third year, like there was a massive out, which plays right into the kind of contract of we could have potentially given to Graham Glasgow. Give me Big Cat Williams. Yeah, Reader is my favorite interior defensive lineman. They'll just have to measure out the injury and then also the age too. Okay, so we have that. Robert Hunt signed. That was the big splash that the Carolina made, which they need. Their offensive line is a mess. He could probably play tackle or guard. They could have him play both spots. They need anything that they get. Their offensive line was terrible this last season. Chicago Bears, they've made a couple moves. Long snapper especially. That's the big splash that they made. Now I'm playing. They got DeAndre Swift. But then also Kevin Byard too. I think that went down yesterday. We're not really in the I don't think we're really in the world of looking for a starter. We definitely could use some depth. I think those guys are still out there. There'll be guys that would trickle down, I think, down the road. Jerry Jeudy, that was a trade. Cleveland really hasn't done anything then outside of that. Dallas hasn't done much. They lost Dorrance Armstrong. He was signed. Denver Broncos. What do we got here? Release. Yeah, there's really nothing going on here either. Brandon Jones. Is Brandon Jones from Dallas? Doesn't sound right. I don't think so. Okay. So, yeah, they haven't done much either. There's our moves, which is mainly just the details, right? Tracy Walker released, which was a while back. Michael Badgley re-signed our kicker to give us we're going to add competition. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, which was mainly a special teams deal, but he gives us good third down presence. Zonovan Knight, which was an exclusive rights deal. Shane Zylstra, exclusive rights deal. Emmanuel Mosley, which they're saying that number, but his cap hit's going to be a little bit over $2 million for 1 year. He's on a 1 year deal, no void year either. And then Graham Glasgow was the big move that went down there. So we actually have more action going on, than some of these other teams. Really, chat. I'll say this to me, there could be one splash that happens, maybe. I would like to see it happen on the interior defensive line. But I'm open to a couple different spots or like a corner if we want to go add someone there. Outside of that, though, we know the focus is on re-signing our guys. Like that's going to be the focus. So that's the real thing I think to keep an eye on here. Not necessarily even the guys that are like free agents now. I am still intrigued by Josh Reynolds, especially after Kendrick Bourne got a pretty nice deal last night. How much dead cap left with Walker? Not much. Actually, no, it was actually a pretty good amount. Take that back. I think it was like $7 million. I think it was like $7 million top of my head. I can pull it up, but I think it was like $7 million. We saved like $5 million. I think $7 million was dead because I think we restructured some of that deal. Let me see. Yeah. That was definitely more about what you're saving versus the dead cap there, though. But it also was understandable because he wasn't going to start here. So I don't know. Has Tracy Walker signed with anybody yet? He'll be someone to keep an eye on. I think someone's going to try to sign him as a starter. Here he wasn't going to get that opportunity. So I think that was a good one for both sides. Let me see. All right, we'll let that thing load because that thing's going to take forever. Green Bay Packers released Devondre Campbell. That happened today, I believe. Then they signed Josh Jacobs, and then they said that they were going to let go of Aaron Jones. So they really have one big move, but it was kind of like just flipping different running backs, I guess. Houston Texans, they got a lot going on here, but a lot of re-signings maybe. Yeah, I haven't really kept up with this one too much. Resignings, short-term 1-year deals going on here. Jeff Okuda, Danico Autry, I guess was the big one. 2 years, 20 million. Yeah, that would have been pushing it for me. 2 years, 20 million for Autry would have been pushing it. I don't think we need to do that. What else do we have? Indianapolis Colts. Michael Pittman got brought back. That was right. They had the big deal there. Oh, they also brought back Tyquan Lewis. Okay, I didn't know they did that. He had a good season for him last year. Jacksonville. Oh my goodness, everything is happening with Jacksonville. Darius Williams. Chat. Also, keep in mind if something happens, let me know. Are we keeping CD Deuce? I don't think we are. I don't think it's going to happen. It sounds like CD Deuce is a good player. I don't think we're bringing him back, but I'd be on board with it. So I don't want to say like I wouldn't want them to. Did the Lions trade for someone? Not from what I've seen so far. I hope we're not keeping Cam. No, we're absolutely keeping Cam Son. He's going nowhere. With the way his contract's set up this year, he's going nowhere. Next year, could be moved. This year, going nowhere. Packers got a safety too. Yes, McKinney, you're right. You're right on that. I did not. I forgot to mention that. Also, this was maybe not refreshed when that happened. So that's something there. Just want to say you are doing a great job. Appreciate that. Covering some of the moves today. Appreciate you. Virgil, Deuce too much. Maybe. CD Deuce could be too much. We'll have to see. I don't know. I don't think he's definitely not getting a multi-year deal. That would surprise me. I think Philly's the team that'll probably snag him, though, if something big happens there. Anything here? Morris, Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Darnell Savage, 3 years. Had a good year. Will Lutz. Kansas City, not doing much here either, other than re-signing their guy, Chris Jones. Other than that, yeah, just re-signing players. And then they're probably going to move L'Jarius Sneed at some point, it sounds like. I guess they don't have to, but they probably will. Christian Wilkins, he was the big splash there that we've had today for the Raiders. 4 years, $110 million. Anything else here? Andre James, bringing him back. He's coming off a good season. Their center. Chargers making it happen. Okay, so, hey, the Chargers, we see y'all. Y'all are making moves, all right? Making big-time moves. What else we got? LA Rams. LA Rams making moves on their offensive line, bringing back Dotson, bringing in Jonah Jackson. I kind of like that. I feel like, Kevin Dotson was kind of like a under-the-radar, good offensive lineman back in college. But I'll say this, Kevin Dotson, again, schematically, especially when you talk about like kind of more those physical but also still athletic offensive line, both those guys, they fit in really well together. I like that pairing. Good for him, man. 3 years, $51 million. So there you go. That was the big splash. Dolphins. Anything happened here that we didn't? The Jonathan Smith one, that was a while back, though. Not much here, I guess. Not much here going on. Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are doing some things. Van Ginkel, which I hate. Oh, they signed Blake Cashman? Chad, when did that happen? I didn't even see that happen. I like that deal. Colts keeping more of their own. They have re-signed Grover Stewart on 3 years, $39 million. That's almost like right to the projection, to be honest. So Grover Stewart has re-signed with the Indianapolis Colts to their 3-year deal. He's coming off his best pass rushing season. So let me actually update my little thing over here. Bam. So yeah, top name still there for me at defensive tackle. Armstead, Reeder, from what I know so far. Sheldon Rankins, Leonard Williams, Daquan Jones, Tierre Tart. Elmo, what's up, Elmo? How you doing? CD Deuce owes us. He barely played last year. I hear you, but and shout out to him for coming back. I hear you, but it sounds like there's some teams that are gonna be interested. Again, Philly to me probably would be, because their defense, their whole team fell apart though. To be honest, Patriots, what do we got going on here? Okafor, okay, Chukwuma Okafor. So that would be the tackle from. Is that the guy from the Raiders? No, that's not right. That's not the right. That Steelers. I think that's Steelers. Actually, I don't know. Top of my head, I don't know. Kendrick Bourne. That's actually no. 3 years, $19.5 million. That's not crazy. That's not crazy. What is that? 6.5 a year? No, that's actually makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I think that makes their deal for even though he's a different style, Josh Reynolds, very understandable. Plus, he was coming off an injury. Antonio Gibson was the one, which Elmo, seeing your name in the chat. Come on, man. All right. I see Elmo pop in the chat. Obviously, we got to talk about Antonio Gibson. That's a throwback right there. Who do you think we will get? As of now, I'm really curious to see what happens at guard. I think we're going to end up signing another cornerback here at some point. I don't know where that's going to go. A signing could be really anywhere. A lot of the cornerbacks are still available though for free agency. I think if a trade happens, it'll be at corner. Gus Edwards to the Chargers. All right, that makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah, that just happened. Gus Edwards reached an agreement, 2-year deal with the Chargers. 2-year. Did they let go of Austin Eckler? I think he's still there. So they pair those two together. That's the first move that Chargers have honestly made. Yeah, that's the first thing that's really happened there. And then Devontae Parker just got released. Saints, not a lot going on. Tyrann Mathieu extended. And then hey, chat, hold up. I'm going to say this. For anybody that's like, hey, yo, where's the moves at? Would you rather have had us signed a Garrett Griffin type right now or have not? I'm just saying, when that happened, people were like, hold up. Yeah, what was that? By the way, I had a reply on X last night. And I was like, yo, free agency, it's about to happen. And then, I put Garrett Griffin on there. It was behind the line. You got to read behind the lines. I had some sneakiness to that. All right, let's continue though, because we're about through this. I want to throw that in here. Teagan's got franchise tag. Please don't sign Eli Apple. Yeah, Eli Apple don't intrigue me that much. I think there is connections there though. Possibly. He's been in a lot of places, but I'm pretty certain that he was with the Saints at one point when some of our coaching staff was there. Could be wrong. Betts, yep, the edge defender. We'll have to keep an eye on him. CFL signing. Shout out to the CFL, getting some love. CFL guys. Shout out to those guys over there, man. Released. And also, I mean, dude, there's some teams that just dominate over there. Trying to think. I can't think of the team on top of my head. I actually got to talk to one of the CFL scouts in the past, so that was cool. No moves are better than stupid moves. I hear you, David. Facts. Most of these signings are a little overpaid. I'd rather have CD Deuce cheap than Xavier. Yeah, I wouldn't have signed. No, I think if we give out a big deal to safety, I'd be lost. I would be lost. Eli Apple to unemployment line. Dang. Okay, I don't know where Eli Apple got the slander from, but that's just popping in. You think the Lions will go for T. Higgins? I wouldn't count it out. I wouldn't count it out. I was thinking about that actually a little bit earlier today. I wouldn't count that out. Only reason I wouldn't is because Josh Reynolds hasn't been brought back yet. I think Josh will get brought back though. So I think that's just kind of waiting to happen. But at the same time, Josh, he's doing his thing too. We haven't seen really, I would say this. The wide receiver market at the top is very light in free agency. The issue with, I think, free agent receivers as well is the draft continues to produce really good receivers, but it's also very thin at the top. So Josh Reynolds, to his credit, I would think, is doing his job and saying, okay, let me see what's out there, because Josh is coming off another solid season. Had a little playoff run that ended poorly, but did a lot of good during the regular season. He's a really solid receiver. And again, when it's thin like this, you got to take your time. You got to look around and see what options are out there. So I would do the same if I was Josh Reynolds. I think he ultimately needs to end up re-signing though, because the first time that he signed an extension, he was like, it was a no-brainer. I think he ends up coming back here. So this is the move that just happened. Singletary to the Giants. John Runyon, which is 3-year, $30 million. What? Okay, hold up. I didn't know it was that much. That feels a little hefty. I wasn't as big on John Runyon, though, so I'm cool on that. I wasn't as big on that. From Green Bay. Jets, what else do we have here? Laken Tomlinson release. Hey, keep it out on Laken Tomlinson. Hold up. Chat, give me a 1. You want a reunion with Laken Tomlinson? Who's feeling that? Okay, what else? I got to know. Is anybody feeling that? Greg Zerline, what else happened here? See Oliver. Okay. Chat, I had some really good chicken before we got on here, so I'm kind of fired up about that. I'm still pretty excited about that. That was different. Hold up, need to calm down. Thanks. I did 180 mil for 4 years. I came up with 60. Wait. I was thinking that you were talking about Kirk Cousins' contract. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, you guys are talking about Kirk. No on top of it? No? All right. Hey, at least you answered it, though. I do appreciate it. I didn't even put a number. You just, broke it down. Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's see. Oh, Philadelphia signed Julian. Chat, I didn't even know this happened. Shout out to Julian, man. Congrats to him, man, getting an opportunity. That's awesome. Makes sense. Take a little 1-year flyer on him. And also them doing that really means that with them bringing in Julian Okwara, and then also, and they've had a lot of guys retire. Fletcher Cox was the big one. They brought back Brandon Graham, which, but then also bringing in Bryce Huff. Something's going to go down there. Hassan Reddick's going to get traded. Who is their other? Josh Sweat. Probably going to get traded. So keep an eye on those two names too. I mean, we're talking about Danielle Hunter because he's available, understandably. Keep an eye on those two. When is Rad coming back? Haven't seen him in a minute. Hopefully soon. I've been talking to Rad actually the last couple of days. He actually texted me a little bit today. So I would love to get Rad back on soon. I'll let y'all know. Hopefully soon. I asked him, hey bro, when you're free, let's make this thing happen. But I appreciate you, Toyota Tundra. Oh, Toyota Tundra? Hold on. Are you sponsored or something? Or you just really like the truck? I mean, your name is the truck. I'm cool with it though, because it matches the pictures. Quick maths. Okay, I see you, Marshall. Maddox was released. Wait, did that just happen? Let me see. I haven't seen any new news yet, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, so we're going through this. Philly. They brought in Albert too. Shout out to Albert, whose last name I'm not going to try to read. That would have been a great signing because I can't read his last name, so it would have been perfect. Fletcher Cox, yeah. So we were talking here. Landon Dickerson got extended 4 years, 84 mil. Bryce Huff was the deal. So yeah, trades are going down there. That's what I was saying. Those moves are going to happen at some point, and their value might not be super high, but we'll keep an eye on it. I would say, who was it? It's Josh Sweat and it's Hassan Reddick. Reddick's pretty awesome, but he's getting up there in age, so we'll have to see where that goes. But yeah, they're making some moves. I'm just happy for Julian. I didn't know he signed. So cool for him, man. Saquon too. Saquon was the big one. They kind of like rotated running backs there. Honestly, if Saquon's healthy behind that offensive line, that's going to be something to watch. Saquon could go insane. Hey, Saquon could go crazy. Saquon could go crazy if he's healthy, man. Oh, here we go. This is the guy from, wait, but no, we already knew he was available. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just seeing the names. This reminded me. Steelers basically haven't done anything yet. They're just letting guys go. San Fran haven't really made anything yet. The only thing that they did is let Armstead go last night, which isn't on here. Is he officially available, chat? Or is that just like a report? I don't know. I feel like that would be on here, but it's not on here. So, that. Seattle, what do we have? They released Jamal. Yeah, they're letting guys go. That doesn't look like much has happened there with Seattle. Outside of, didn't they just add a running back? No, that was the Chargers. Sorry, those are the Chargers. And then Grover Stewart also, again, is back with the Colts. So he's off. Tampa Bay, they released Shaq Barrett. He's also someone. Wait, I forgot about Shaq Barrett. Didn't Shaq Barrett sign? Hold up. Did Shaq Barrett sign somewhere? I feel like he did. I thought I saw that. Wait, Shaq Barrett's still available? Oh, man, keep an eye on Shaq Barrett. We did the video on Shaq Barrett. I like Shaq Barrett. Mike Evans, okay, nothing here. Oh, they brought back Chase McLaughlin. So that was, oh, wow, they gave him a nice deal. Okay, I was kind of being stingy with the contract that I gave him. That does make sense. He was pretty great last season. Okay, he was someone I was keeping an eye on, though. Titans, Lloyd Cushenberry, that was their big splash. Their offensive line's terrible, too, so they need some help there. And they brought in Tony Pollard, which feels kind of weird, but he could fit with potentially, I think Hassan's still under contract. And then they also now have Tajay Spears. That's kind of interesting. And then Washington, Zach Ertz. I was shocked. Zach Ertz got a pretty nice deal. I think he got 1 year up to $5 million. Something to keep an eye on there. They also brought in Dorrance Armstrong, 3 years. Tyler Biadasz was also brought in for Washington. Yeah, Washington making some like middle of the road moves here. A couple middle of the road moves, and then they got Zach Ertz in the building. All right, so that's kind of the updated moves that I guess we've had. We've also had some recently that aren't on here, so we can always revisit that. We need Hooker to have a stellar preseason so we can get a first rounder for him. Whoa. First rounder for who? For Hooker? I hope he has a great preseason, but I'm not trying to trade him. What? I hear what you're saying, though. If you did get a first for him, like that'd be hard not to take. It'd be hard not to take. But no, I ain't trying to move off him. No, hold up. Titans got the best offensive line coaches in football. Bill Callahan. Oh, true. But their offensive. Wait, do they? Did they just get him? They must have just gotten him then. Wasn't he with? I don't know. I could be wrong. I thought he was with Houston. Maybe that's why I'm confusing. Tennessee, Houston. But no, their offensive line was terrible. Brad Holmes is called the Nightcrawler. Oh, snap. Hey. Yo, I've never heard that. I like it. Hooker is the future. He might be. He could also be the future backup. I'm cool with either. Hennon has a stellar preseason. Goff gone. Why? All right. We'll keep an eye on it, though. I mean, that extension has not happened yet. We've heard there was like interest. I think we heard that at one point, but nothing's happened there yet. I take some free pizza. All right. I don't know where that came from. Pizza does, especially if it's free. I'm on board too. I should not have zoomed in that far. Hold on. Let me back up. Ravens, free agent safety, Geno Stone to the Bengals. So Geno Stone just signed with the Bengals. Geno Stone was, he's actually been really good. That's been a really good draft pick. I can remember, I think it was like near when we started covering the draft over here, covering it. But Geno Stone, I can remember people talking about him in the chat when he was drafted. I think I rewatched that draft. So Geno Stone to the Bengals. It's a good player. Okay, I see the pizza. Goff is 10 times the quarterback Hooker is right now. Yeah, where's this? Is there like rumors or something? Why is this? Before he got hurt at Tennessee, he looked like the best quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. I'm glad we got him. I'm shocked we got him when we got him. I am surprised we got him when we got him. Yeah. Heisman front runner, don't forget it. Yeah, he was awesome. I look, man, I ain't disagreeing with you. I'm glad we got him. I was talking about taking him in the first round, and we got him in round 3. So Shaq Barrett is no longer someone we'd want. My best pal is a Buck fan, and he's so happy they're cutting him. Okay. Hey, that's cool. Like, I don't even remember what my takeaway was on Shaq Barrett, to be honest. I did the video on Shaq Barrett. I don't remember my takeaway was. So whatever my opinion is on Shaq Barrett is in that video. I don't remember what it was. I think I liked him, but I didn't like him at a high price. I don't remember, though. I thought Shaq Barrett was nice last year, though. If I remember correctly, I think in the video, I really thought he played well. People actually want us to move on to Hooker and not pay Goff. That's fine, man. I'm not one on that train because Goff played really well last season, so I have no interest in moving off a good quarterback. And I think we're seeing that in the league. Quarterbacks are just not easy to come by. But, you know, again, I have no issue with Hendon Hooker. I'm a fan. So we'll see. We did get to see him a little bit throwing passes around in training camp last year, which was cool. Any other news that has popped off? Also, let me make sure there's not anybody else that I want to talk about here. So we talked about guard a little bit. We talked about DT. What else do we want to talk about? Christian Wilkins. That was a big deal that happened. Safety, something that I think will come in a little bit later. Cornerback. Cornerback's been kind of dry. I don't think we've seen a lot of cornerback moves taking place here. I would say the biggest one would be Grover Stewart. That's now off the board at defensive tackle. He wasn't my top option defensive tackle, but he was up there. So, yeah, cornerback, who is still available? So, Snead would be a trade option. Kendall Fuller, I don't think he's signed anywhere yet. Something to keep an eye on. Probably the best corner that's just available, cornerback, in terms of play. Who else? Stephon Gilmore's still out there. Stephen Elfin, I think, is still out there. I think Chidobe's still out there. Dory Jackson's still out there. Hold up. No. He's still out there, though. So, Sean Murphy-Bunting just signed. Is that what Hungry Panda was alluding to? Fantasy drafts in March. Whoa, fantasy drafts in March. Milton throws it 70-plus yards. Crazy. Yeah, Milton's got a huge arm. It's unfortunate, man. It never really worked for him. And we saw that. We saw the value of Hendon Hooker this past year with Tennessee. Then also, it didn't work for him in Michigan either. So, he just got old. Shaq Barrett, that is. Well, he did get old. I don't disagree. I can't argue that one. He did get old, but I thought he played well last year. Hope all them quarterback. I think I saw he did. I might have to pull it up. Check out the video. Check out the video. You want my thoughts on it? Check out the video for sure. We're not moving off Goff. No, I don't see why do we do that. Yes, please. Let's get Stephon Gilmore. That's a real option. So yeah, Chad, let's go through some of these positions. Let's kind of talk about them a little bit. So I think we talked about guard pretty well. I think what's interesting about guard too, and let me just get some of the names here pulled up so I can remember. Yeah, John's okay. So the two guys that we laid out, also Greg Van Roten, he was with the Raiders last season. He's solid. I don't think he's great. He's solid. He's a pretty nice pass protector, but I don't remember. I'd have to look back at my notes for Greg Van Roten. He'd be kind of walking the lineup a little bit, maybe like a little bit of a higher option on a short-term deal. But yeah, for me, it was Damian Lewis and it was John Simpson. I'm really liking Damian Lewis, especially if you got him on a nice deal. I think that could be a really nice, that could be a really nice deal, I think, for what we ended up seeing Jonah Jackson get paid. Ezra Cleveland got his deal with Jacksonville. So we saw that they extended him after not really playing that well with Jacksonville, but he was pretty nice. Dalton Reisner. Okay, we didn't talk about Dalton Reisner at all. I don't think we talked about him at all, but someone brought him up. And he was actually the guy that kept Ezra Cleveland from starting at left guard. So Dalton Reisner, 6'5", 312. He's played left guard over the last 3 seasons. This past season, he did allow 30 pressures. And let me see. What were some of my notes here? Because, yeah, he was an offensive tackle that just took over at guard, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, look, Dalton Reisner, again, he'd be like a lower tier. I don't think that you would sign him knowing for sure that he's going to be the future. But he might be one of those guys that gets like a $6-7 million per year kind of deal. Something like that, especially from where we're seeing guards are getting paid right now. So he, to me, wouldn't be on like the Damian Lewis, John Simpson kind of level. Maybe a notch below that. I think, I don't know. The run blocking versatility seems to be there, though, with Dalton Reisner, which could open it up a little bit. He seems to be a pretty good run blocker. And pass protection, kind of shaky a little bit, kind of up and down there. I could see them waiting on Goff personally. Onwenu is unsigned. Yeah, I don't think we'll sign Michael Onwenu. Milton is supposed to be the sixth best. Wait, what? Oh, the best quarterback this year? I haven't watched any of the quarterbacks, to be honest, coming out this year. I just know that Tennessee took a big step back. We could roll with Hooker, but the issue there is, yeah, I don't. Murphy Bunting to the Cardinals. Okay, so that did happen. Why did that not pop up over here? It's been a little bit quiet recently. Yeah, Geno Stone was the last move that I think took place. Any word on Hunter? I've seen no word on Danielle Hunter. I wouldn't count it out, though. I wouldn't count it out. He's going to be all price point to me. I mean, he's a really good player. There were fake reports about Hunter to San Fran. A lot of people. Yeah, I think San Fran fans just want him. I think they do, especially because now their defensive line depth is very thin. I think they just want him in the building. Dalton Reisner also did have to protect for Mr. Holt. This is true too. Look, he was fine. Dalton Reisner, from what I've watched so far. He didn't stand out to me, in any sense, but that is a really good point. Shout out to Russell Wilson holding the ball forever. But there was things that I liked in pass protection. Wide base. I loved his punches. He had a lot of power. I didn't like him off the line of scrimmage. That was one of the issues that I had. I thought he was kind of slow off the line. That could get him into trouble immediately. Even if you watched him against, hold up. Actually, let me flip this over because I think it was against us that Dalton Reisner didn't look great at times. So that's something to keep an eye on. Milton will have a career for some team in the NFL. Hopefully, I'll root for him. Vikings signed Cashman. That was one that we just saw on there. That's a good deal for them. Cashman was awesome last season. They're kind of redoing that front seven because they're just resetting that front seven. They go younger at Jonathan Greenard, now adding Blake Cashman. I like what they're doing over there. They still have Harrison Phillips, who I think is a really good player on the interior. Barkley went to Philly, huh? Barkley did go to Philly. If he's healthy, he'll be awesome over there. Heard we are in talks with Hunter. Is that between Texans and us? Okay, maybe we are. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Is Holmes waiting on extensions because he wants to sign free agents first and structure around that, or vice versa? Not sure which is better. That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know, Jordy. That's a good question. I don't know how that would work. I feel like they would have ideas of how they want to lay out they've had talks with the guys that they want to give extensions to. Aleem, I would assume, St. Brown. It sounds like that one's not for. They probably already had talks. We know he's going to be top of the market. So I think that's priority. I think that's priority for the Lions, getting extensions done. But like I said, I think a lot of the guys that have been signed, I don't have much interest in, to be honest with you, outside of Van Ginkel. He would have been the guy that I would have liked. But I could still argue for not signing him with what we have under contract. Outside of that, or also Grover Stewart. I did like Grover Stewart. Wasn't my top interior guy, but I did like Grover. Especially with him getting a 3-year deal. I don't love that. I would have liked Grover on a 2-year deal. 3-year deal, I'm a little bit less interested in. Will Anderson, the poor man's Hutchinson. Will Anderson was awesome last year. Rumors are we are in on Steven Nelson. Now, I do have some notes on Steven Nelson. I don't think I'm in the right book, though, here. 5'11", 194 corner. Yeah, Steven Nelson, I mean, he's undersized a little bit. His long speed, I didn't like his long speed either. I didn't like his speed just in general, to be honest to you, from what I've seen here. But it seems like I did like him in off coverage. I don't think this is my right notebook, but I did like him in off coverage, which is something that we did see the Lions do. So if you're talking about a guy that could play similarly to a guy like Cam Sutton, that could make sense. Steven Nelson is coming off a really good season. Now, he wasn't their number one because they had Derek Stingley. So that's something to keep in mind. But he is coming off a good season. He's not too old either. I liked him in zone coverage, it looks like, as well. Half turn, cover 2. Played a lot of quarters coverage from what I can tell from what I wrote down. I don't know. That would be weird. It would be weird because I don't think he'd offset the skill set of Cam Sutton a ton. I think he'd almost kind of like make it so they work together because they can play similarly. But he definitely wouldn't bring, I think, a ton of difference to the position. So that's something to keep in mind with that one. So it could work. Definitely not like a true number one from what I've seen so far. The NFL in 2024, pay every running back. Man, I'm telling you, the value is still there. And I think Brad Holmes proved that last year with what they did at running back. But also the Lions got something going here with running back is even though they both missed time, they didn't like go add guys that are definitely just injury prone. And I think a lot of the running backs that we're seeing get moved around have that. Heck no, Bo. Josh Jacobs, not a poor man's Monty. He's a bona fide. Oh, yeah. No, he's a stud. Josh Jacobs is a stud. I don't think he's the receiver, though, that Aaron Jones is. But he is a stud. I mean, we saw that when we played him. It was like, oh, dang, you got to worry about that guy. And he wasn't even behind that great of an offensive line. But it's about him being healthy. We got to find a guard in free agency. We can't go into the draft with any needs. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to sign somebody. That's where I wonder a little bit. Chad, what do you think they do? So let's just lay it out there. So we have the guard position. And I would say the top guards have kind of been all taken. I don't think there's really many top guards left. Actually, the top guards are probably the guys that we opened the show talking about. John Simpson and Damian Lewis. Those are probably the last two remaining. I like both of those. You could probably maybe throw Dalton Reisner into that category with Robert Hunt, Kevin Dotson both off. And then it would be, okay, there's still a veteran option in Kevin Zeitler. I like him a ton, but he'd be an awesome option. It's just figuring out who's playing left guard then at that point. John Running's also off the board now. I would say Greg Van Roten is in a similar category as Zeitler, even though Zeitler's been a much more consistent right guard that is. And then you have some of your vets that would be a little bit on the cheaper side because they could start, but I don't think you'd want them to start. And to me, that'd be guys like John Feliciano, who I had went through some of these guys I haven't went through yet, to be honest. Okay, yeah, Tristan Colin, that was his name. The young offensive lineman there, played with Arizona, went to guard, but he's also played center too. If you got a guy like Colin, he'd be a cool addition because I think he'd be a really nice backup. And he's only, pushing 26 years old. He could start, but I wouldn't want him to be the future there. So I definitely would have to address. I'd be forced to address that. I haven't really looked into Isaiah Wynn. Someone brought him up. I haven't looked into Isaiah Wynn yet that much. So I have to keep an eye on him. I brought up Laken Tomlinson. Nobody was feeling that. So we'll just kind of leave that where that was. Fields might go to Vegas as Evan Brown picked up. No, I don't believe Evan Brown's been picked up. My thing with Evan Brown is if you sign Evan Brown, which would be cool because I like him for depth, I'm not signing him to be my starter at guard. If I sign him and he has to play guard, I'm fine with that. But if he has to be my starter, I'm not really looking forward to that. If you sign him, you still have to draft one for sure. But that's probably what's going to happen anyway. I think they're definitely going to invest in guard here within the first 3 rounds at guard. It feels like John Simpson for 2 years, say 20 mil would be a good pickup. Oh, I love that. Playing Van Roten is literally waving the white flag. Wouldn't touch him as far as I can throw. Hey, yo, I gotta look back at my what I had for Roten there. Because I think statistically he was actually pretty good last year. But I definitely didn't like him as much as the statistics suggested for him. But yeah, I'm really on board with Damian Lewis. I'm keeping my eye on Damian Lewis. He's the guy that intrigues me, but so does John Simpson. Both those guys intrigue me. I like both those. Losing Jackson hurts, 16 to 17 year, that downgrades us. Now we need a guard. It downgrades us for now, but I think long-term it probably helps us. And that's projecting. We don't know who they're going to add to that spot, but just based on what we know of how they draft, I would say it probably helps us. I think that's a way too big of a deal, and I think they believe they can improve that. Also, I think a guy like Lewis is just a better – I think you can make case Damian Lewis is a better free agent. What do you think about Nelson at corner? Like I said, I think he'd be fine. I think he'd fit in to Cam Sutton's strength and also a little bit of Brian Branch too. I don't think he's a number 1 corner necessarily, but he could start on the outside. Also, Nelson adds more stability, with having a guy like Mosley. So because of Mosley's injury history, I think you could make a real argument that Emmanuel Mosley has much more upside than Steven Nelson. But Steven Nelson adds stability. I think from what my notes tell me, I liked him in off coverage. Obviously didn't like him in press coverage, zone coverage. So you can kind of mix it, I think, with what Cam Sutton is. I think those two guys can play together. Keon Coleman to phase our Josh Reynolds. Reynolds messed up. He did mess up. He had a couple key drops. Now, that's not to say Keon Coleman will have those. Keon Coleman's cool. I like him, don't love him from what I've seen. I think that in terms of hands, Keon Coleman would be much more reliable than a guy like Troy Franklin. I didn't like him as much as Brian Thomas. I didn't really feel like they were in the same category. Also, I like the Donnie Mitchell better than Keon Coleman. But we'll have to see. I mean, he feels like he probably would be too early to get him with our 2nd round pick. But I wouldn't want to take him with my 1st round pick from what I've seen. But I also, still continue to watch him. He'd be in my binder here, so I'll have to pull out another notebook and try to find him if we do that. Simpson or Lewis at a Glasgow price point would be great. Absolutely. Yeah, no, oh my goodness. If we got him at that price, now I'm really on board. Those two guys to me will probably try to walk the line, though, between you're giving him a deal where it's like, okay, I may have paid him a little bit too much, and now it's going to be hard to draft a guard that can directly replace him. We're definitely going to have to throw an out in there. So that's something. Thanks, but we need a good man-to-man press corner. Well, so if that's the case, I don't think he's the target. If that's the case, I don't think he's the target then. Because I don't think he offsets Cam Sutton a ton. But I also say this, I don't think the Lions necessarily, if they're looking for a press corner, obviously there's options for that. I don't know that the Lions are necessarily looking for that. I think what being easy we're talking about yesterday is more so what they're looking for, which is a guy that has big time ball skills that can take the football away, and we can figure out the schematic stuff. We'll figure it out because the thing that we know, by the way, Packers are paying Jacobs 4 years, $48 million. Wow, they gave him a long-term deal over there. So that man got paid 4 years, $48 million. All right, that's the contract details, not all the details, but that's what the number is. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah. I think they want a guy that makes plays on the football, and they want reliability. They want stability at cornerback because, to be honest with you, if you added a guy like Steven Nelson, who played really well last season, and you had stability at corner, while you don't have your typical number 1, if you have stability and you have Cam Sutton, who you buy into, can be stable on the opposite side. Obviously, you have Brian Branch. I think that they could be really fine with that. They could be okay with that. And then you draft someone, that maybe has some of those tools that might not be completely ready to go yet, or maybe brings an offset of tools combined with Emmanuel Mosley. I think you got a nice cornerback room. And the Lions could be completely fine with doing something like that. And I could understand it because honestly, when they've had stable play at cornerback, they've been a really nice pass defense. They are just missing guys that consistently take the ball away. But also, to me, I try not to get too caught up in the schematic side because I do think schematically that if you fit a guy with Cam Sutton, it'd make it easy. But also on top of that, like they've shown that, okay, when they first got here, yes, they pressed, they played man. But they also did that because of who they had. Like when you have Jeff Okudah, that's what you're going to lean into, right? So they kind of leaned into what they had. So they've been willing to adapt to the players that they've had. And now we've seen they've kind of reset the cornerback room where Cam Sutton is completely different with what the first, layer of cornerbacks that we had between Amani, between Jeff, between Jerry. It's a completely different outlook. Well, Jerry was the first draft class. So this is a completely different style corner that we have now than what we had when we first got here. Stephen Gilmore, cornerback 1. Tough thing about that is I liked Khalil Dorsey more so in preseason than Stephen Gilmore, not by, a landslide, but we saw Khalil Dorsey stepped in. It wasn't great. So we also have to balance then Stephen Gilmore was young, and Stephen Gilmore probably has a lot more that, you would think that he could grow into. So I don't think he's a cornerback 1 from what I saw, but we know that he can make plays on the football. And to be honest, he's still around. So again, those kind of guys, it feels like the Lions might be leaning into. Now, we'll really, I think, get a sense of that as well with what happens with Kendall Vilder, because he's not great making plays on the football, but he does some other things well. So I'd keep an eye on him, see what they decide to do with that. Avila played center in college. Okay. All right, I must have missed it. I think there was a conversation there that I was not a part of, so I missed that. Great thoughts on Nelson. Yeah, and honestly, if we sign him, I'll give you much more thoughts. This is kind of where I'm at with it now. But I haven't said enough to give him like a full grade or nothing like that. Mike Ford, 2 years, $4.5 million for Texans. All right, Mike Ford. Hey, if that's true, shout out to Mike Ford. I'd love to see that. All right. Stephen Gilmore with Stephon would be cool. See, that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm on board with Stephon Gilmore. He's still out there. I'm on board with that. Like I said, I think a lot of guys that I anticipated they kind of go after are still on the board. That being said, like I said, Van Ginkel, I thought they might. Vikings made that happen, maybe at a higher price point than I expected. I love me some Van Ginkel. And then, like I said, Grover Stewart. But at 3 years, $39 million, I could understand why they would have stayed away from that. 3 years was, I don't know if I love that. For a guy that's 30 years old already. Why was no one given, I'd say first and extended Jamar Jefferson for, I don't know, Jordy. There's certain questions that we just can't answer. And that's one of those questions. That's one of those. Travis Hunter to the Lions next year. Xavier Legette is why Reynolds hasn't signed yet. Could be. I think Reynolds is probably also, like I said, I think he's doing his thing in free agency. I think he's got to go look at all his options because that'd be the one thing that keeps Josh Reynolds from us, to me, is that he gets paid too much because wide receivers light in free agency. And as soon as that draft hits, man, that value is going to drop because they're putting a lot of receivers today. A lot of receivers come out. I mean, last year's receiver class was kind of not that great, but this year it's looking pretty good. It's only legal tampering period. Free agency ain't officially open yet. We haven't had the official signings come through yet, but they've had the verbal agreement. So Raiders add Gardner Minshew. So Raiders just added Gardner Minshew, the quarterback, to a 2-year deal. That's a nice move for the Raiders, that feels like. Gardner Minshew was a dog last season for the Colts. That also makes it for the Colts where they're definitely going in with, now I'm forgetting dude's name out of Florida. Anthony Richardson. But I'll tell you what, bro, Gardner Minshew was awesome. He made the Pro Bowl. All right, whatever. The Pro Bowl's whatever. But he played really well. He was awesome last season. He did a lot of things off script for them. That's a nice deal. I like that, Raiders. I like that move. They're paying out 2 defensive linemen big time, but I like what they're doing there at quarterback. I think that's a nice little, that's like a ideal bridge quarterback. That's an ideal bridge quarterback. I see, he made the Pro Bowl. It's an ideal bridge quarterback for a draft pick. I love that. Cornerback 2 is all that's left other than Snead. Yeah, but the only thing with Snead is that he's, I guess he's available because he's a trade target, but you're right. He'd be a trade pick. A trade pick. Why'd I say that? I don't know. He'd be someone they have to trade for. Like I said, I'd prefer, I think, Newsome over L'Jarius Snead, but I don't know if Newsome's legitimately available or if that's just more of an idea. For cornerbacks in free agency, like I said, I don't think there's that many number 1 cornerbacks in the NFL anyway. I think there's maybe a handful of cornerbacks that you would classify as number 1. But yeah, Jalen Johnson really never became available. I would say Kendall Fuller You could make a case Kendall Fuller last year in his own way because L'Jarius Sneed plays a very different system than he plays in a very different style than Kendall Fuller, and obviously Fuller's a little bit older. Fuller, arguably in his defense, was better last season than L'Jarius Sneed. I'm with you though. Lachinobi's probably not like a pure number one. What else do we have here? Stephon Gilmore. That's the thing though. Like I don't like putting the number one tag on these guys. I think as soon as you put the number one tag, you kind of limit yourself. And like if I had Stephon Gilmore, healthy Stephon Gilmore, and I had Emmanuel Mosley, and I had Cam Sutton, would I feel good about in Brian Branch going into a game? Would I feel good about that? Yes, I would. I'd still like to draft someone to get some youth in the mix and be like, hey, this guy could be the next because we haven't really drafted anybody yet. So that's going to happen. That's going to happen. But I think when you put that group together, do I like that? I like that group. Hope the Lions re-sign Josh. Yeah, me too. I hope so too. I think they will. I've been wrong on some predictions already. My predictions are really never right in free agency. So there's too many names, but I think he does resign. Derrick Henry's a free agent. No, not for me personally. I wouldn't go after Derrick Henry. Not to say he's bad. I just wouldn't go after him. Henry going to Baltimore, I feel okay. I know I've heard all the Dallas stuff, but Dallas is literally tied to everybody. So because everybody just talks about Dallas, people got to chill on Sutton. He'll be our cornerback 2 or 3 as long as he's not currently 1. It would help him. It would. Sorry about that. Let me get my mic back on. Okay. But there's also an out, in the third year. So Cam Sutton got a nice deal, but it's nothing. I appreciate y'all, by the way. Mic cut out, muted. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. The thing is like loose or something. I don't know what's going on with this. We had this now. I'll figure this out. All right, now it should be good. It's all right. I didn't say anything that was that you missed there. All I said was great game. I saw someone said bring up great game, so keep an eye on that. RIP Mike. We have no corners, and Benito Jones, our DT dude, just sitting there. I think Benito Jones is a free agent. Yeah, Benito Jones isn't under contract right now. I don't think we brought him back. So we actually don't have him. We don't have that dude. We have no corners. Well, we have a couple. I think we have 2 starters. You can pencil in. We're gonna have 2. Let me take that back. Hold up. If Emmanuel Mosley was healthy, though, that could be our starters. I don't think that's necessarily what they're gonna lean on. And like I said, cornerbacks right now for the free agent market, it's kind of all still there. Like there was never a point where I thought we'd go get Jalen Johnson. I, s- I I wouldn't count out a trade at cornerback. So I'll say that. I don't really expect him to go after Kendall Fuller, but he's a good corner. Really, no one's really came off the market in terms of cornerbacks yet. To be honest, am I missing someone, Chad? I don't think anybody's really come off yet. Corners. There's been like no. I mean, there's been some little things happen here and there. It sounds like, but there's been really nothing that's really went on with that. Uh, but yeah, I think Benito Jones is a free agent. He's not under contract. So I'm with you. I would like to add an interior defensive lineman. I'm with you on that. But like I said, keep an eye on the name. I really do think that a guy like let me go back to him. Oh wow, I got draft players in here too. I do think a guy like Daquan Jones would be awesome. I think that'd be a really interesting deal. Eric Armstead's still available, which I really like. I have not seen DJ Ritter sign yet, which is my favorite, but he's just coming off the injury. He's my favorite though. Grover is still a beast. Yes, believe he re-signed on a 3-year, $39 million deal. The issue I have with a 3-year deal is I think especially if it's a nose tackle, you're kind of now. To be fair, a lot of 3-year deals we see the third year happen out. But I think 3 years plus, you're kind of like putting a cap on top of Roderick Martin. I don't think they want to do that. But also, you still have DJ Reader, not DJ Reader, I'm sorry. You have Sheldon Rankins, who isn't much of a run defender, but he's a big time pass rusher. I'd like to get a guy that can give me some size, but also give me pass rush upside, which is a big reason why I think Daquan Jones can also fit at 32 years old. He'd be a short deal. He can give me pass rush, he'll play the run. Like, give me that dude. All right. I'm bought in. I watched him today. I'm bought in. I'm down. Got to do that. A'Shawn Robinson, I don't love it. But I know he can play the run. All right. The dude looks like a brick wall. They try to block him, it looks like a brick wall. He's really strong. Armstead overrated. I'm gonna disagree with that. But also, I don't know what rate where he's rated in your opinion. So if you're saying you're hearing him rated as like the top in the league, as one of the best, now I agree with you. Armstead though, to me, like I can understand for certain teams why San Fran would be like, ooh, I don't love him for 3, 4 more years because of the stage. I get that. But for us, all that screams to me is opportunity. All right, get that man on a 2-year deal, bring him in here, all right, give us a big time pass rusher that at a weird size still plays the run really well. Give me that guy. Bring him in. All right, bring him in. Hutchinson getting triple teamed is old. It's old. Hey, I don't like to see that either. I don't like to see that either. But I will say this: the defensive line. We also have to keep this in mind. And I think I've said this in a few videos, but if my opinion on this is the Lions, I think, believe that they have certain answers in place. Josh Pascal, I think they believe is a very big part. Keep my all right, there we go. Yeah, I know. So I'm sorry, I had to reload there. The thing just cut out for some reason. Okay, let me get this also off my screen. Got a lot of things on the screen right now. Making sure we didn't miss nothing. All right, I haven't seen any news over there. So yeah, no, with the defensive line though, there are a lot of guys. Josh, okay, cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, so to me, there are a lot of guys that are a lot of players that they currently have that they believe are going to be the foundation for the future. Obviously, Hutchinson is one of those. Lee McNeil is going to be one of those. Josh Pascal is one of those. And right now, that defensive end position is made up of Josh Pascal and John Kaminsky rotating. Now, Kaminsky still under contract, does have an out. So for me, if you add a guy like Calais Campbell, he could be someone gets moved off of because of where his cap, where his number is set at this year because of the out that he provides. But they feel like, I think in a lot of ways, they have their starters. Braddock Martin potentially could be part of the future, which is why I think they need to add one on top of that. That way they can get a nice little mix between proven vet, not Tyson Aluwalu. I'm saying like a legit guy that can play and start, and you feel good about that. They need to add another DT to that mix. They don't have to go like a massive deal like Reader, but they need to me, add someone solid to that. By the way, Gardner Minshew, 2 years, 25 million, 15 guaranteed. I guess that's not crazy for a quarterback, to be fair. Josh Pascal is rotational. He is right now, but I think that they believe that he is part of the future. Now, that's not to say they can't add on top of that because I do think that they can. Like, for example, they added a Darius Robinson, they put him on top out of Missouri, and they had those guys mixed. That's awesome. But this is also part of the reason to me why they added and they went out and said, hey, let's go get a legit defensive line coach. No disrespect to our former defensive line coach, rooting for him. But to go out and add, our guy from the Tennessee Titans, whose name is slipping my mind at this point, we talked about this a couple of streams ago. Like, there's a reason they add certain guys that they did, right? They added the coaching staff that they did. Same thing at cornerback to me, because they're looking at it. Cornerbacks are going to make investments, so they just need guys to help develop. And our new cornerback coach or defensive backs coach has been around a lot of young corners. But on the defensive line, if you went out and you got a legitimate defensive line coach because you have invested a lot into this position, and you need to start getting something out of that and figure out where you're at with it. They'll make additions, but I don't think they necessarily need flashes there. Now, the biggest one I'm keeping my eye on, again, is kind of that Sam back role, right? Because Derek Barnes is under contract. He plays that, and he was good there. So I can understand if they didn't invest there. But James Houston, as a exclusive rights free agent, hasn't been tendered yet. Keep an eye on that because I haven't seen that happen. Maybe I missed it. I don't think he's been tendered yet. So he's still, and they have until the 13th to make that happen, but he still hasn't been brought back. So that's really the key position there. Dan Campbell and AG had Sheldon Rankins in New Orleans. They did. Now, the concern to me there is that New Orleans didn't bring him back. They drafted him in round 1 and didn't bring him back. But I love me some Sheldon Rankins. So, Paul, I'm with you on Sheldon Rankins. I'm a fan of Sheldon Rankins. I'd be on board. I think he would also make sense. How do you feel about Steelers signing Russ to push Kenny? Man, I think that they replaced Kenny this season. I think they did. I think when they had Mason Rudolph and they were a better offense last year, I thought it made him a bigger threat when Mason Rudolph was in the game towards the end of the year. So I think they replaced him this year. Could be wrong. I mean, look, I wasn't huge on Kenny Pickett coming out of the draft. I thought he had like real flaws, but that makes sense to where he was drafted. He was the first quarterback off the board. I wouldn't give up on him either. But I think for this year, Russell Wilson's probably going to be the guy. 49ers just signed Leonard Floyd 2.0. Wait, 2.0. Hold up. Are you talking about someone else or are you actually talking about Leonard Floyd? You said Leonard Floyd 2.0. I'm trying to think like who could that be? Hold on, let me see. This should be posted here. You might have to go to that PFF website again. They were on it, sort of, a little bit, kind of. Sheldon Rankins would be cool. Yeah, the issue I have with Sheldon is that he comes off the field in early downs, which in a way that could work, but in the flip side, it's like, okay, product, we need you to get going now. If that's the case, you got to keep going. But no, he'd add us a lot of pass rush. Packers signed Will Harris. Oh, did they? I didn't see that. Well, kind of hate that a little bit because he's going to the Packers. But I'm happy for him. Happy for him. If that happened, happy for him. Congrats, Will Harris. I respect what Will Harris did here. I know he gets hated on and clowned on. I get it, but I respect what Will Harris did for us. He never had a massive deal. He never took up a lot of the cap, and he was solid. So, solid for his role. He's good for his role. Yeah, Sheldon Rankins, third down DT. Yes, and I'm on board with that. Like we could, and I said this easy yesterday. If you guys were in the chat, maybe you weren't. I was like, yo, if we don't have a Lee McNeil, who gives us interior pass rush? There's nobody that gives us interior pass rush. Now, it's different on third down because, to your point, like Rankins, yes, could step in on third down, but you could also put in Kaminsky and Pascal in the interior. You can let those guys go. But on first, second down, if Aleem's not there, you have no interior presence at all at pass rush. You have none. So a guy that can be capable on early downs that can still give that to me doesn't have to be a large deal. Daquan Jones. But I think we really need to add something to this offseason. Love Will Harris. Yeah, shout out to Will Harris. If he did sign, he hasn't signed anywhere? Oh, okay. All right. I don't know where that came from. Okay. Wait, did Leonard Floyd actually sign that? Or is that just like a rumor or something? I'm gonna look it up. Look it up. Let's see. Adam Schefter didn't say nothing. So, okay, yeah, no, he did. Leonard Floyd, 2-year, $20 million deal to the Niners. All right, so the Niners got their edge rusher that they wanted, which this was immediately what I thought when I saw that. So if that's true, it does seem like more likely that Danielle Hunter could absolutely be a fit for the Lions then. I mean, I think Danielle Hunter has interest from every team. But yeah, they were looking for an edge. Maybe we outpriced them. Maybe we were willing to give them a longer term deal. I don't know. If there's interest from the Lions, it would make sense. San Francisco Floyd. So there you go. Okay. You guys were thinking the same way I was. And we signed Mac from Chargers. I don't think Mac's a free agent. I think he's is he a free agent? I don't think he's a free agent though. I think Mac's under contract. I think he'd be a trade. Could be wrong on that. He had like 20 sacks last year because he had like 7 in one. He had like 7 against the Raiders. Yeah, no, he'd be a trade. Yeah, him and Joey Bosa because they have Tui Pelotu over there, and it sounds like they're both available for trade. What is going on with my chat, by the way? I think it's like frozen or something. It like cut off. I've never seen this happen. Okay, 2 years, $25 million for Leonard Floyd. Let me get this. No, wait, no. Oh, okay. It was like a glitch. What the heck's going on? Okay, 2 years, $25 million for Leonard Floyd. Chase Young probably not going to get signed. If we sign him in free agency, Brad. Oh, absolutely, yeah. You'd be really smart for doing that if you could get him on like a prove it deal. He'll probably will sign a prove it deal. To be honest, Chase Young. I think Chase Young's a big time pass rusher. I also don't really know if there's interest there from the Lions because I don't think he's that good against the run. I have a feeling the Lions believe in Pascal to develop. Absolutely. I think they absolutely do. I mean, if you're going to build through the draft, when you put multiple investments in that spot or you put a second round pick, like it's kind of to me like with Levi last year, right? Like they never really replaced Levi last year. They gave him opportunities. And they didn't really put someone on top of that. Now I think they need to this year. I think this year, okay, let's get like a stabilizing force in the interior. Levi is still under contract, and he showed us some pass rush last year. Like when you're going to build through the draft, you got to have your draft picks hit. Pascal has been a big time. I don't think Pascal's been a bust. I think Pascal, obviously he was injured when we got him. I think he's been solid. I think Pascal's been real solid. He's been against the run. The thing with Pascal is this. I think Pascal's been a lot of kind of what you would expect. They just need more and more snaps out of him. Like Pascal is expected to be a really good run defender with good length that could play that defensive end role, right? But not really win a ton on the edge as a pass rusher because that's not what he did in college. That was expected. But it was about on third down we can kick him inside. I think Pascal's been he's been solid. But next year we need a step, right? Pascal needs to take a step if he's going to be the future here because otherwise he'll step into becoming a rotational player. But he's only been, playing for 2 years. First year was cut short. He had the injury when we drafted him, so they knew to expect that. Um, from what teammates said, I didn't see what teammates said about him. Hold up. I got some juice in there. We signed Craig Reynolds, but Josh Reynolds still have a question. Yes, Josh Reynolds is still available. Craig Reynolds is back. He was an exclusive right free agent, so they placed the tender. He's back with no guarantees. Oh, that's what we all were saying. So Will Lutz, free agent kicker Will Lutz, signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wait, nope, read that wrong. Who agreed to terms earlier in the day with Jacksonville, changed his mind and is remaining in Denver. What the heck is that? I guess that's how it works in the tampering period. Like, he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll do that," and he's like, "Actually not." Okay, that's weird. Uh, so good set. Yeah, he's not a force on the edge as a pass. He can give you some bull rush, got good length. He was never that coming out of the draft. He was very limited in how he could win on the outside. He's a dude that pop inside, let him go in there. Wait, did I? Wait, what? What happened? Am I good? Make sure the audio's working. Also, the quality. Can you move that up? I can touch up my appearance, man. Sign Simmons over CD Deuce. I mean, Simmons would. I don't know. Simmons gonna look for a starting gig though. No one has signed Jerry Jacobs yet. Elite quarterback slide. Hey, we love Jerry Jacobs over here, but no, I don't think it's signed him yet. Like I said, cornerback really hasn't been signed though. Cornerback's been really light. Cornerback's been really light. There hasn't been a lot of deals done today. I think there's a lot of kind of those day two guys out there at cornerback though. Please no CD Deuce. Yeah, he isn't a fit. I don't know. I like him at safety. I thought he was a good safety with Philly. I like him at safety. I don't think he's elite. I think he's good though. Yeah, we just had the injury stuff. The thing is, CD Deuce didn't get a multiple year deal last year. I don't see how someone could give him that this year. Only team, like I said, that I could see doing that would be Philly, because Philly would be like, "Oh wow, our defense fell apart. We could use him back in that defense." I could get that. I could see them throwing more value to that, but I think he's got to be a 1 year deal anywhere else. I would think. Paul Pascal is significantly faster than Peter Robinson. Oh, you're responding to Paul. I got you. Pascal is significantly faster than Peter Robinson. I think I think I think Robinson has a much deeper bag to win on the edge, and he's also a former interior versus edge defender. I think he's a much better edge rusher than just a pure edge rusher than Pascal. But I think you could also flip around and say that Pascal is a better run defender coming out of the draft, and that Pascal is the kind of guy that I like when he's not outside of a tackle, right? When he's playing, if he's outside tackle, he's shading outside of tackle, he's playing a five technique. I don't want him wide, and then on pass downs, I really like him on the interior. I think they bring different skill sets. Is Minnesota going to rookie at quarterback? Man, they got like nobody at quarterback. I heard Sam Darnold today. I don't even know where that came from. I'd love to see us match up against Sam Darnold next year. Like they have Jaron Hall. I don't. They're gonna draft someone, right? Like they have to. I think they have to. I mean, hey, Gardner Minshew's gone, which honestly is good. I don't want to play Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew. Broncos won't trade PS2. Nah, that'd be crazy. All right, when we were talking about him back in the trade deadline, I remember he was one of the names was like Neil Hunter was. I don't. That would be crazy to trade a guy. You make a guy like that work. I don't know if a lot of trades are going to happen this year in free agency. Draft seems pretty stacked this year. Like, are you saying a specific position, or you mean just in general? I think the draft is solid this year. The thing is, I haven't went through a lot of the top. I don't know. From what I've seen, like for certain positions, I think there's good depth at. Others, I'm like, this is pretty light, especially at the top. That cornerback market to take off. You mean on the trade side of things? You mean so do you think Jared Goff will get paid like Cousins? Ooh, that's actually a good question. So 4 years, 180. What is that per year? My math is off right now. It's like what, 45 a year? Yeah. I would think somewhere in that number range, 45 a year. If I can do the quick math on top of my head, 180 divided by 45. Yeah, I would think somewhere in there. Awuzie will be okay. Ed. He'd be fine, Ed. Be fine, Ed. I don't think I'd be extremely excited for what I've seen so far. It'd be fine. Jared Goff could do a deal like team deal. What was Baker Mayfield's contract? Like 100 mil, right? 100 mil for 3 years or something? I saw that. I don't remember what that was. I'd have to look that up. He's playing off injury, but I still feel like it's for a shot. Yeah, see, like the Mosley deal. That's the issue that I would have with Tre'Davious White is the fact that you gave out the Mosley deal. If you never signed Emmanuel Mosley, then I'd be like, that makes more sense. But I think signing two players at the same position that have kind of a similar thing where it's like, okay, they have to be healthy. That's what it comes down to. It'd be hard because you're potentially taking up two roster spots with guys that be in and out. I guess you could say, well, I put them on IR. Okay, if they have to go to IR, you get the spot back open. But I think it'd be hard to invest in two cornerbacks that kind of have the same issue coming in. I think one is good. I like Tre'Davious White too, so I'm saying that's a guy thinks Tre'Davious White's awesome as a player, but I don't know. I think it'd be hard to do that with two guys. Oh, worth 50 plus. Oh, gotcha. Okay, Baker 3-year, 100 million. So yeah, that's 33 a year. That's kind of low. I mean, it just depends on what the guarantees and stuff are there. But I think from what I heard, it sounds like it's more of a 2-year deal, right, with the back end kind of being open. So yeah, maybe I think Jared Goff will probably make more per year than that. But if you could set it up on a similar like extension length, like 2 years on top of his 2024 season, with the next year on top of that being a little bit of an out, that would be cool. Leonard Floyd to Niners, yes sir, yes sir. What up, Kim James? Are you a Niners fan, or are you just excited because you think that means that Danielle Hunter's coming to the Lions? Baker Mayfield did a team deal, 50 million guaranteed. Okay, so yeah, 50 million guaranteed. A lot of that's probably coming in the first two. So if you got 100 million, 33 a year, probably a big out in the third year. 110 to 115. Okay. So we lost the famous Wouzier, right, Bear? Did he sign for? Yeah, Chidobe Awuzie always feels like a name that comes up for free agency. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Titans expected to sign Chidobe Awuzie. 3-year deal. So there you go. Yeah, 3-year deal for Chidobe Awuzie. This might be the guy to follow. I don't know who this dude is. He got news. So, yeah, there you go. Justin Jones to Cardinals. 3-year, $30 million. Justin Jones. Is that the defensive tackle, or is it? No, Josh Jones is the offensive tackle. That's the defensive tackle, Justin Jones. They gave him 3 years, $30 million. Oh boy, I feel like I liked him more than others, but I don't think I liked him that much. Hold up. Yeah, that's the defensive tackle. I mean, he's okay. All right. I mean, look, the Bilal Nichols got a pretty nice deal too. So, I mean, look, okay. Actually, no, I can understand that. Like, Justin Jones can get pass rush, and you talk about guys in the interior that can get after the quarterback that's not old, 27. Okay. All right. I can understand that, actually. I could just remember Justin Jones from when we would prepare for Bears games, and I'd be like, yo, Justin Jones, guy you got to worry about on the inside. Offensive top 10 quarterback, all of those guys 50 plus. Yeah. I don't remember what we did for you. We talked about that in the past. I don't remember what the number was that we were thinking, but yeah, probably somewhere around that per year, 45, 50. He's definitely a top 10 quarterback. So, I don't know. Are the guys getting overpaid? Yeah, I think the tough thing about that, though, is that, for one, yes, free agency is full of guys that get overpaid because they're usually injury-riddled, older, I should say. I feel like a lot. This is why there's so much variety in guys that actually hit. Where you look back and like, oh, that didn't work out, especially long term. Free agency is like a lot of dudes that feel like being overpaid. 2, the cap number moved up, so naturally guys are going to get paid more than I think what we're used to. But like numbers now that feel high are no longer that high because this can become the normal. So yeah, I think there's definitely both. I think guys do get overpaid in free agency. Let me see. What is this? I don't even want Hunter. You don't want Hunter? I'll say this. I'm not the biggest guy on signing Hunter. It would definitely come down to the price point. Flip side though is I think Hunter's a really good pass rusher. I'm not in love with it. I haven't really pushed it like that. I didn't love him at the trade deadline either. I liked him. I think he's a really good player, but I didn't love him then. We did shows on Bleacher Report, and I wasn't a huge oh man, got to make this thing happen kind of thing. But if they did it, and especially if it felt like it was a reasonable kind of deal, especially if there was it wasn't extremely long. Here's what you know. With Danielle Hunter, you're gonna get a consistently very good pass rusher that's flexible on pass down because he walks around the line of scrimmage, lines up everywhere, and he's a good run defender. You get really good versatility, you get a guy with good size, and you have a 3-down type of player, right? And it also kind of shores up what has been very questionable in terms of consistent pass rush opposite of Hutchinson. You kinda know a lot of things that you get with Hunter, which is great. It's just the price point. The Vikings feel like the Bears last year don't have a great quarterback. True. Overpaying a few defensive players. Who have they paid? Okay, let me go back to this PFF thing. Let's go back to PFF one more time because I want to see. I want to kind of roll through because I feel like a lot of deals are taking place. Not a lot, but we've had some. I want to remember some of the NFC North that they've done. So Awuzie was the latest deal. It sounds like he's going to Tennessee, which I'm cool with. I was a big guy. We Okay, hold up. I'm on the wrong page. Oh, no, this is right. I don't know what I was looking at. Nope, this is wrong. Hold up. Is this the page? Okay. I'm looking at the wrong section. I got it. All right, my bad. I got the wrong section. I was looking at like my position. What do we? Okay, here we go. So this should be updated. There's the Nichols deal. So yeah, 3 years, 20 million. Okay, this should be. I'm gonna go to Minnesota real quick. So this is the Lions. It was just Lions, and nothing news happened since Jonah Jackson just went to the LA Rams. But Minnesota. Um. Okay, yeah. So Blake Cashman. I don't know what Blake Cashman's number is. They're saying to be determined. Maybe it was announced. Van Ginkel. Honestly, I think that's reasonable, bro. I'm a Van Ginkel guy though. 4 years, 76 mil for Greenard. I liked him. I didn't like him at a big number, so I'm not. Yeah, that could be an overpay. Depending on how that's said, that could be an overpay. I mean, I get it. It's like you're going a little bit younger. You knew you were moving off Hunter. Hunter's probably going to get paid more than that per year. So I get it. Jonathan Greenard also statistically was awesome, but he also like for guys that had less sacks than Greenard this past season, there's better pass rushers that had less sacks than Jonathan Greenard. Hunter's 29. Yeah, I think Greenard's like 27. Okay, no, that's still Will. Wait. Why did that pop up again? That's not new. All right, I don't know what that is. Up we get 4 years, 200 million. I like that. I don't know. We'll have to see how it's set up. Oh, that's what it was. We were looking. Okay, chat. So no, we did a live stream, and I cut out the segment where me and Easy discussed a Jared Goff extension. That's why I was like, I know we talked about this. That video is on the channel. It's probably like 20 minutes long because we dive into both St. Brown getting paid and why he should get paid, and then also the kind of like contract that I think track that they kind of came up with for a potential Jared Goff extension. So we dove into those two things in that show. Definitely check that out. If you want to know more about kind of my thoughts on that. Obviously, I'm a golf guy though, so I'm on board with paying him. I expected Brad to make a bunch of small moves. Could he? I think he could. Like to me, like I think if a big deal happens, either one, it'll be a trade, especially like cornerback, because I don't think cornerback has a ton of big deals out there. Or two, yes, like like I've said, I think most teams, if they make a big deal, they make one big deal, and then everything. Some teams make multiple if you have a ton of money. We have good gas space, but we do make a big deal, probably one, right? One splash. So I think it's very possible. And I think a lot of those positions are still kind of available. A lot of those players are still available. But two, I'm with you. I think a lot of kind of smaller moves will happen. I think it'll be very similar to what we've done in the past. The one making significant difference that I could see happening is signing a contract that is more of a veteran type of piece. I know Stephon Gilmore's popular. I love Calais Campbell. Something like that we really haven't done in the past. Go get a veteran that's kind of in the like win now type of mode. Heard it from Lions fans, but the real stats he's not. Are we talking about Greenard? So the biggest concern for Greenard statistically was this, and even if you just look at the pressure numbers, was this. His pressure stats last year were extremely comparable to Charles Harris in his breakout 2021 season. Now, Charles Harris was great that year, but they're very comparable. That alone was like, ooh, I don't really love that. Because like I said, I'm not a big sack. I'm a pressure guy. Hudson had 101 sacks for pressure last year. It was insane. But sacks got to have a lot of things go right. Because a lot of times, unless you're on block, a lot of things got to shake out right for you to just rack up sacks. You know what I mean? Especially the coverage got to be there. And I thought a lot of times last year, our coverage was the issue. So y'all know me. I'm like, bro, I want to invest in the corner. That's why I'm saying like if I would make a splash and it wasn't like the Hunter deal, I would be on board and I could see the Lions saying it's going to be a trade for a corner. I could see that. But they also, they could definitely like guys in the draft too. if I were Aiden, I would be calling Brian Holmes and telling him, "You're gonna sign somebody, right?" If I were Aiden, I'd be like, "Bro, you're gonna add a quarterback, right?" That's what I'd be saying. I'm with you, James, but I'd be like, "Bro, you're gonna get someone in the back end that's gonna force that quarterback to hold the ball, right?" I had 100 pressures and like 11 sacks, dog. What are we talking about? That man Jonathan Greenard had half the pressures and more sacks than I did. That's what I'm thinking. Now, hey, your point though, Will Anderson opposite, he's a dog. He was kind of the number 2 pass rush thrower in the sense because of that. He also lined up against the left tackle. Um, but they have a nice cornerback room going on. Steven Nelson was real solid last year, and then they have Eric England. They have like their big investor there. I'm hearing the Giants gave up seconds, but not number 6. Wait. Did the trade happen? Uh-oh. Burns just got traded. Oh, snap. Charles, I missed it. I feel bad. I missed it. Ryan Burns to the Giants. All right, I got to look this up. I'll break news before all these dudes. Panthers and Giants have been discussing a Brian Burns trade for a while. Per sources, this is Diana Rossini. Per sources, I'm told at this point, it's not complete, but there is hope they can get there. We'll see if it can be finalized. So it sounds like there's talks about a potential trade going down. Barring a complete breakdown, it's going to happen. So it sounds like there's a lot of belief that this is probably going to happen. It's just maybe like not completely there yet. So sounds like it sounds like it's going to happen. Brian Burns is going to the Giants. How about that? Hey, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. So they went that route. Now that's a little bit different. One because, well, actually take that back. I would say it's different because Brian Burns is a top tier edge defender, bro. He's still young. He's a top tier edge defender every game. He's very consistent too. I think we talked about Brian Burns at the trade deadline too. Running around like Wario. Yo, okay. I won't go to that. Okay, I will. So here's weird story. Side story. I don't know why I do this. Every time I open a new tab, I don't know, I use 2 different like explorers. So I use Google Chrome and I use this Microsoft Edge thing, which I don't know why I use it. It's annoying because it never takes me to Google. It takes me to like weird like page where when you Google stuff, you only get like 7 answers for some reason. You're actually not Googling stuff. They're like Microsoft Edge is having a pause. You're doing that. All right. I don't even want to say that because I know today's world. Here's the thing. So you know how you like go to like the weird browser and then you type in Google so it'll take you to Google? When I open up this, for some reason, I always search up Wario. I don't know why, but I always look up Wario and then I click on it and it takes me like images of Wario that puts me on Google. I don't know why I do that. For some reason, it's like I have it. I always type in Wario. And it takes me to Google. That's so random. But bro, I do it every single time. I've been doing this for like a year, bro. So I just need to point that out. I had to get that off my chest. For some random reason, I picked up the I picked up the habit of Google searching Wario every single time I open up my browser. How much can we get for DeForest Buckner? Oh, you're saying if they traded him? I don't know what he would call. Lions trade for cornerback Snead. I see. Now you lying. You lying. I know that would be going crazy. Okay. Kendall Fuller, please. I'll be happy personally. Kendall Fuller is a really good corner. I'd be happy too. Kendall Fuller is a very good corner. So, yeah, if they did something like that, I'd feel forward. He's really good last year. And a not really good defense too. Actually, a terrible defense. Let me actually go back to this last part of the important stuff because he was on top of it. Let's see if he got anything new. Doesn't look like it. Looks like still he's got Chidobe Awuzie. But he also did announce the Brian Burns thing. I guess it wasn't official, so maybe that's why. I don't know. That's with the trolling. I don't know. Look, man, I am with y'all. I love the news. Trust me, as someone that does video, I love talking news. What up, Motor City? But like, I'm not upset with like what anything that's happened yet. To be honest with you, like I said, the only real guy would have been like, man, I hate that with Van Ginkel. I wanted to see Van Ginkel as the Lion. I did. Other than that, like I'm chilling. To be honest, it's kind of also what I expected. After 2 years of this is what I've grown to expect with the Lions through free agency. They're not going to make splash after splash, even with cap space. Last year they had cap space. They didn't go crazy. This is how they're going to do it. They're gonna give you the and that's why I honestly did that cornerback video because while they may sign a bigger name than everybody that I talked about, I did that cornerback video because I just expect those are the kind of moves that are probably gonna happen, so I need to talk about some under the radar guys because those are the kind of things that the Lions do. I'll take Adoree too. I like Adoree Jackson. I like him. I think it'd be a good time to get him coming off a rough season. I don't love him, but it'd be a good time to get him. Your audio's been a bit choppy tonight. Okay, let me check on that. Let me check that. Let me see. Wait, I'm gonna switch it. Let me know if this sounds better. Chad, does this sound better? Or does this sound the exact same? It was on. There's a default and there's a mic, but it's the same mic, so I don't know if it does anything different. So let me know. If it sounds worse, I'll switch back. It doesn't matter who we get because Dan Campbell won't kick a field goal to save his mama's life. Okay, that's not true. That's not true. We kicked the field goal against the Rams with 50 plus, and our dude made it, and we won that game. So that's not true. I hear what you're saying, but to be honest, we also did get to the NFC Championship. I get it. Hey, look, I'm upset that we didn't make the Super Bowl too because we would have won the dang Super Bowl. We would have beat the Chiefs again. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm so darn proud this team got the dang NFC Championship, man. Also, news just went down. Former Panthers linebacker Frankie Louvu, who was awesome last season, agreed to terms on a 3-year deal with the Washington Commanders, maximum value of $36 million. Shout out to Frankie Louvu. That's the highest linebacker deal this free agency, probably. I think he's the best linebacker on the market. Also, Frankie Louvu was awesome this last year, so that makes sense. Chat, you guys are saying other things. Is there other news that I missed? Will Disley plans to sign with the Chargers? 3 years, $14 million. Okay. Will Disley to the Chargers. There you go. Some more news dropping in there. Okay, bring Big Farm Benito Jones back. Bro, and that's the thing. I really wanted to bring Benito Jones back last year. So when they did, I was like, oh, this is awesome. He didn't have his best season. I wouldn't count it out. But I don't expect it this year. I think we'll get Reader. Look, if that was the splash the Lions made, it would be hard for me to come up with a name that I would rather have the Lions make the big splash signing with than DJ Reader. It'd be hard for me to find that guy other than a cornerback trade. Same people. Oh, snap. Jordy's about to go in. I didn't even read it yet. We didn't do enough last year to win the division. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I feel like at this point, for me personally, like I don't really question especially their approach of free agency. And I think, it's we've seen both sides of it. We've seen the one side of Brad Holmes. He's a little bit more conservative in free agency. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't make deals. Like, again, there's not a deal yet that I would be like, oh, there's really not that many deals that have happened that I wish the Lions would have got him outside of Van Ginkel, and that wouldn't have been a big signing anyway. But also, the flip side, we also got to see the other side where it was like, hey, we pushed all our chips in. It was a really fun free agency. We won free agency. And then years later, essentially everybody got cut, and our dead cap was by far the highest in the league. We went out and we made a big deal for Flowers. We made a big deal for Jesse James. We made the big deal for Justin Coleman, and it was the most fun free agency. My channel grew, and I was pumped up. And then we look back, we're like, okay, we're cutting everybody. We have a ton of dead cap. Desmond Trufant, and none of it worked. And that's not to say it was all the players' fault, but it just did not work at all. So we've also seen both extremes, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you what, I'll lean into the Brad Holmes. I'll lean into it. NFC Championship, the results speak for themselves. I'm cool with that. I'll rock with that. Brad Holmes, you do you, man. You do you, man. Hey, I was just happy we made the play. I was fired we won the division. It was a success when we won the division. Then you had to go mess around and go to the NFC Championship Lions. Okay, I'm bought in. What would you have? Okay, wait, hold up. We got to talk about some free agency moves. Yeah. Let me know. Let's do this. Let's get some conversation going. We're still live here. We hit 2 hours. Appreciate everybody being here. Let's do this. Biggest. What has been what's been the biggest standout free agent signing to y'all? Give me a name. Biggest free agent signing that stood out to you guys to this point for any team. Something that's like, wow, man, that was huge for whatever reason. Maybe it surprised you. Maybe it's a deal that you wish the Lions would have done. Maybe that's one that you're like, that was a terrible signing. As we officially get the signing of Frankie Louvu for the 3-year contract worth $36 million per Adam Schefter to the Commanders, and apparently Carolina wanted him back, which makes sense. He was good last year, and the defense wasn't terrible. It was a bad team, but the defense wasn't. Their offense was garbage. Their offense was garbage, bro. The amount of times I took the Panthers, they scored 0 points. Maybe it wasn't that many times, but it felt like they did not score at all. Yo, I'm telling you, bro. Hey, hold up. Okay. All right. Saquon to the Eagles strip the league. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. The fact that they went off of Swift and went and got Saquon. If he's healthy, that's gonna be something. How about just the running backs in general? The running backs in general. Epinesa back to the Bills. Oh, is this breaking news? Bills are signing. We literally have Adam Schefter and Elmo DeMarshmallow in the chat. Can we get Hey, Jack, can we get some clap emojis for Elmo DeMarshmallow for just dropping news left and right here? We appreciate it. Bills are bringing back AJ Epinesa on a 2-year deal. He's coming off a really strong season this past year, maybe his best season in the NFL. The former second round pick out of Iowa. All right, there you go. Montez Sweat. Wait, did the Montez Sweat thing happen? Okay, I think you're just saying like Montez Sweat maybe not. Oh, should have gotten him. I got you. Well, he's still available, right? Oh, Montez Sweat. I'm sorry. I'm out. I was thinking Josh Sweat. Montez Sweat from the Bears. Gotcha. Okay, my bad. Christian Wilkins was the big one. Yeah, that was a big one. I don't know where the cap space is. I assume they had a ton because they're not paying a quarterback at all. But yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this. So, and I'm not saying this because like, oh, we didn't sign him, so I'm going to say this now. Truly, I watched him today before we got on. Christian Wilkins, 58 pressures, 10 sacks, 33 run stops, and I was very flexible. Right, played a lot of. Schematically, I was like, oh, this makes a ton of sense. Like for the Lions, like he plays 2 plays in 3 tech, will kick out, play on the defensive end, and the 3-4 looks, and they'll put their 2 edge rushers out there. But I didn't walk away in love with the player. I liked him. Like I didn't walk away thinking this guy's an elite pass rusher. I thought he was a pretty good pass rusher. I thought he was a pretty good run defender. But I didn't think he was like elite when I watched him. That being said, it's very understandable why he would be at the top of the market because every top defense tackle was signed. Everybody was extended basically. So when he became available, it was very understandable. There was a lot of interest. So for the Raiders, it's a good deal. He's still a very young player. You expect hopefully there's more upside in there. And you pair him with Max Crosby. And you also take a look at this. The Raiders, who Bilal Nichols got a 3-year, $20 million deal, surprised me a little bit. And maybe Jenkins ends up being a line. I don't know. This was an interior defensive line that did get pushed around last year. And what was such a great attribute to me with Christian Wilkins is that he wasn't a one-player type of deal. Like, he's a really good mover. He was very effective. He was maybe just as effective as a run defender as he was the pass rusher. He was pretty darn good in both. So he didn't have any glaring weaknesses. And I think for the Raiders, not only do they think, hey, we're going to plug this guy with Crosby, it's the Austin Washington to go together. It's really the fact that they had to get better. They could not get moved around all the time. And a guy at 6'4", 310, he's going to help him there. Lions interested in a reader. See if we get outbid. I hope so. Hey, Polar Bear, you know what I mean? I hope so. Like I said, there's going to be a splash. There will be harder to find one that would make me as excited as it would be to bring in DJ Reader. I think DJ Reader is a better player than Christian Wilkins. I'll put that out there. He's a better player. But age, injury, those two things, that does shake it up. The player alone, I think he's a better player. We are likely going to get outbid across 3 teams. Place where nobody can win. See, and that's why I'm keeping an eye on it. I really think if there's one prediction I can get right, I think Calais Campbell to the Lions might be that one. I'll keep my eye on that. I have to see what it makes too much sense. He's one of those guys that might sign later in the process too. The Lions will have some money. Be like, yo, I want to win. I was just in Atlanta. What the heck was that? Get me out of here. Come on now. So that give us a giant bonus in free. Definitely would like Reader seeing him next to Lee McFire. It'd be disgusting. It'd be disgusting, man. And bro, Lee McNeil's so darn good. Like I don't want that to be lost. He is so darn good. Even when you're not trying to watch him, he was awesome last season. Cousins paying that much money for a quarterback that has proven the bigger the game, the more he chokes. Dang, Brent. I'm a Kirk Cousins guy, to be honest. I think Kirk Cousins is one of the 8 best quarterbacks in football. Safely, I could say 10. I think he's one of the best in football. But man, you're right. I mean, wins aren't. I don't ever look at it as a quarterback win stat, but he's also. You're not wrong. Prime time his record's been pretty trash. I would not take Kirk over Goff. I've laid that out, but I also do think he's one of the best quarterbacks in football. I think Kirk Cousins is a quarterback. He does. Hey, Kirk. Hey, you do got to give Kirk credit for that. Kirk doesn't know how to make money. Hey, Kirk know how to make that money though. He might not be winning nothing, but he knows how to get paid. So he's winning the financial game. That's what he's winning. That gets their bank account looking real nice. Fields isn't going anywhere. What about him? Did I miss it? I haven't seen anything on that. It sounds like he's going to get traded, but also everything I've heard throughout the last week is that there's not a big market for Justin Fields. Which part of that I'm a little bit surprised on. I don't want to say I'm surprised. I don't think Justin Fields is a terrible quarterback, and there's upside there. But on the flip side, like in today's NFL, I would think someone would take a swing on a guy like that, like a great athlete. But on the flip side, it was like when he fell in the draft and the Bears went and got him, and it's a big deal. Like, oh man, Bears stole him. It's like, did they really steal him? And then just he's just not a consistent passer. I would think in today's NFL, the team would be more willing to take that swing. He's not a consistent passer. I mean, he's just not. Got some news. Former Browns linebacker Anthony Walker, shout out to Anthony Walker. I remember looking at him from the Colts, has agreed to terms with the Miami Dolphins on a one-year deal. So TD Finstock will be excited about that. There you go. Got some news. He's got some news to talk about. Also, former, I guess, linebacker Mike Wilson has agreed to a 3-year deal with the Patriots. Wait. Okay, so he's re-signing with the Pats. Is that what you're saying? I didn't even know he was on the Patriots, to be honest. I remember him as a Brown. Did they trade for him? Isn't that what happened? The Lions, Titans. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Titans, Lions, Bengals, of course, are among the teams showing strong interest in DJ Reader. Stop it. Stop it. Detroit Sports Talk, stop. Don't get me fired up right now, dude. I messed up my knee. I can't be standing up on this live stream. I can't do it. If they go out there and do something like that while we're live, I might hurt myself. I can't do that, man. I got the brace on and everything. I need to calm down. That's why I'm sitting. That's why I'm chilling today. I would be surprised if they trade. Who is the quarterback? Draft Hill? Oh yeah, I think they draft him at 1. I don't. Yeah, I don't really see another scenario for the Bears. I mean, I think you could argue that it makes sense to trade back, but I would be shocked if they did. I'd be shocked if they didn't take Caleb at 1. That's what I'm saying. Like I expect them to do that because that I expect them to just move field. But boy, I don't know. He might literally. Hey, oh, Mac goes into the Cardinals. Okay. Yeah, the Cardinals need to rebuild that defense. So Cardinals need to. But let's start somewhere. This guy did not update that, by the way. This dude. Oh, here we go. Browns are re-signing Zadarius Smith to a 2-year contract worth over $23 million. So there we go. Zadarius Smith, who I believe the Browns traded for before the start of last season, or maybe that was at the deadline from the Green Bay Packers. 2-year deal, $23 million, staying in Cleveland. And then to that, I don't know why Jadeveon Clowney came in my mind for some reason here. He's a free agent. That doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. My man said Reader and Hunter. See, now you're getting greedy, Marshall. One of the two, I could see it. Now, I couldn't see both. I'd be shocked if they did both of those. You've been a little greedy, but I ain't mad at you. I get it. Hey, comes to a point where you're not seeing anything happen. You're like, all right, maybe just go sign all the big dudes out there. I ain't mad at you. I got to go to a store now. Try not to miss me too much. Ha ha ha, jokes. I will try. I like the dog picture. That's the biggest thing I'm going to miss. I'm going to be honest. Like, Devontae David is a free agent too. Okay. All right. Actually, if there was a good list that we could pull up? Anybody know of a great list that we could pull up just to show available free agent? I don't really have one that is updating. This one shows me the moves. I can pull up the full list of free agents, but that's like a insane amount. You know what? I'm gonna pull up the full list just to kind of get an update where we're at. We won't talk about them all. I don't know about it, but let's do it. Oh well, this one's the best available player. Should we do that? Actually, probably not. No. Let's do both. Last free agent tracker. Let's do it. Is it quiet? Hey, if it's quiet, I'll turn it up. It could be quiet. It's got like a volume thing here, so that could be the issue. That's the issue. Yeah, I can turn that up. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. Let's start with let's start with quarterback actually. Available. So these are the guys that have signed. You see the top available quarterbacks. Actually, don't do that. Man, if I could block that ad. All right, but anyway, top available quarterbacks. I mean, also new deal. Maurice Hurst is re-signing with the Browns for a 1-year, $3.2 million deal. He's just missed a lot of time. Oh, Choppy Mike. Okay, Okay, let me fix that. Has it been like that? Okay. Test, 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 test. Snow angels. Snow angels. Food fight. Food fight. Is that? eh, Hey, did you give me a 6 out of 10? Ah, dang. Oh, it's better. I think when I switched it, I made it worse. Hey, if it's better, all right. I try not to touch nothing. Is it yo, it's better though? Ah, okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Those are everybody knows those are the testing words that everybody uses. If you didn't know that, I guess you're just not in the loop. Mashed potatoes, that as well. Think we draft Chop Robinson? Ooh, he could be. I think he's an option there. I think he's an option. I don't know for sure that we do. I wouldn't put my money on it, but I think he's in play. Yeah, quarterback, Tannehill. I mean, it's really not a lot here. Sam Darnold, he's gonna be the future of the Vikings, I guess. Teddy Bridgewater, sounds like he's retiring. I think he's coaching a high school team now. Felipe Franks, ooh, that's a throwback. Okay, really not a lot to look at there. Okay, let's move on. How about running back? Running back's been just flying off the market. So we got Henry. Now we have Aaron Jones, which by the way, watch us sign Aaron Jones, make him running back 3 just to be slick. Audio fine. I think Dion just talks so fast he has people confused. This is a real possibility. I could see that. I apologize. Uh wait, why did it zoom in like that? Hold up. Okay. Yeah, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler. Oh no, so Austin Eckler is a free agent. That makes more sense why they would have added Gus Edwards then. Bill Patterson. Anybody stand out here, chat? Clyde Edwards-Helaire got to play a little bit at the end of the year for Kansas City. Zeke. Deontay Foreman was good last year. Deontay Foreman was good for the Bears. And now they have Swift. No, wait. Yeah, Swift. They have Swift. Okay. So there's a pretty good back out there. Other than that, looks like a lot of AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon's a free agent. That's another big one. Those are the two that kind of stand out there for me. And then obviously Derrick Henry, but I don't think we're really in play for that as a Lions fan. Lamar just tweeted, "You're dead to me" at Geno Stone. Ah, dang. Wait, where did Geno Stone go? Do you think Brad makes a move today? Yeah, I think he does. I I think he'll do it at like 9:45 p.m. Eastern time, just because that's how it seems to go for some reason. So yeah, I would expect so. Right before I go to bed, bam, news. It was more choppy before. It seems like your last fix helped. Okay, I switched the source, so maybe that's what it was. I can always pull my old school mic. From what I've seen, Cooper DeJean and Kool-Aid is that they're going to struggle in the NFL right now. I think TJ and Terrion Arnold. So I haven't watched Terrion Arnold. I think that's how I pronounce his name. I just haven't seen him yet. I think Cooper DeJean instincts are lacking. I think he's got incredible traits. Kool-Aid was someone that I liked a lot. The issue with Kool-Aid is I watched him. I had my thing wrote on him before the season ended, so I need to revisit them. I know I liked him a lot when I did. TJ Tampa, we talked about him a little bit yesterday. I liked him in off and zone. I comped him at his best like a Richard Sherman type. It may be your internet messing up. Is it still bad, chat? Faster we end the screen, the faster I sign someone. That's probably accurate. As soon as I end it, bam. You're not even wrong on that. I can end it right now. Hey, I got to do it for the people. I got to do it for the people. I'm all about the people, chat. You know, hey, let me know. Let me know. Because it usually tells me if my Wi-Fi is messed up, but it's not saying that. And I'm also Ethernet right now. So I should be good. It's not so bad. Okay. 76 million. Yeah, Polar Bear, you got 76 mil. What are your thoughts on Andrew Phelps from Kentucky? I don't know who Andrew Phelps. Wait, you talking about the corner? You're talking about Phillips, right? I think you're talking about Phillips. You're talking about the corner. I know who you're talking about. I've written some things on it. I don't know if it's Andrew Phelps. I don't know who that is. Mike spanking you good. You're clean. All right. The issues come and go. Okay. Well, hopefully they go for a little bit. You know, I can always refresh. If I unplug it and then I plug it back in, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm scared to do that. I can do it though. Good signal. Okay. See, Brett makes me believe we're all right. Let me know. Keep me up. I'm gonna rock with it, and I'll reset it if it's still messed. I'll reset it. Let's go through this next position group though. Wide receiver. Dang, Allen Robinson. How about that? I'll tell you what. I missed on that one. I think. I remember I liked Allen Robinson a lot. I can say that I missed on Allen Robinson. David Bakhtiari. I did see that. David Bakhtiari is released, so they got to figure out their tackle. But they, for some reason, always figure out no matter who they put at tackle. Odell. Curtis Samuel. See, like Chad, you're looking at this list of names, or it's easy to make the case Josh Reynolds is like the best receiver on the market. Allen Robinson, yep, better recently. Odell, healthier. Curtis Samuel, you could argue Curtis Samuel, but I don't think Curtis Samuel is incredible. Tyler Boyd, third receiver, slot, mainly a big slot. MVS, Cedric Wilson, DJ Chark. I mean, injuries, didn't really produce much. Carolina's offense was terrible. Jamal Agnew, more of a kind of a role piece. I mean, what are we talking? Deontay Hardy, Paris Campbell, Miko Hardman, Braxton Berrios, Keem Grant. Josh Reynolds is arguably the best of all of those outside of maybe one. And then you get to Calvin Ridley, who to me is probably the best available, who's still not coming off a great season. What I'm saying is there's an argument that he's one of the 2, 3 best wide receivers on the market. So to what JT just said, I think he resigns. But if you're Josh Reynolds, you got to look at this and be like, this is my opportunity. Like, I gotta go test it. I gotta see who's interested and just have the conversation. Like, don't block off the ideas, because if anybody wants to receive a free agency, like, competition is not stiff. What are we looking at here? Darnell Mooney, right? I mean, he would be one of the Peoples Jones. Competition, bro. Competition ain't there. Josh Reynolds can go get paid this offseason, and I hope he comes back. I really do. I'm a big Josh fan. I think he's been awesome for Detroit. He's been awesome for golf. Now, this is the thing working against him. Agreed. Deep wide receiver draft. But if a team wants our 4-star receiver, that's not a number one, but reliable hands outside of the playoff game. Release package, still has vertical speed, not very old, has a pretty deep route tree as a wide receiver. I'm just saying, I don't know. Yeah, Xavier Legette is one of those guys. Like okay, it's a good topic. Let me reset it. I'm assuming that it's just loose. All right. Should test. Should reset. Let me know if this is better. I tried to reset it right there. Andrew Phillips. No, you're good. Andrew Phillips. You're good. I have notes on him. I just want to make sure you're talking about the right guy. Xavier Legette. So Xavier was one of those dudes that I had. I hope I'm saying his name right. I don't even know. When I worked with in my last job, we did the scouting stuff. I had South Carolina for essentially a year and a half. So I watched every single game. I had to do every play, and he was one of those dudes where every single game he was consistently the best receiver. It was very quickly, oh, this is the guy. So I haven't even dove into him, but I know of him, and I know when watching him, he was the standout player on the offense. I can remember when Jaheim Bell was there, and Jaheim Bell was like, who the heck? You'd always have to mark him, and it was like, this guy's playing running back. He's a tight end. Why is he playing running back? So it was always like a weird fit. They had Spencer Rattler in there, but he was the standout of that offense. He was the dude on that offense. He was consistent every single week. He was the best receiver, it felt like. So I could buy into that player without even having gone through his stuff yet. I do need to go through his stuff. This new mic. It's like relatively new, but I've had it since Christmas around that time. I don't know. It's been acting weird though lately. Last couple of days has been like, would you take? In fairness, I haven't seen Legette enough. I would probably take him though, because Lad McConkey, while there's things I think he's really good at and excels at, there are some real knocks. I loved him as a route runner, but I think there's real knocks in his game that I'd probably leave Xavier honestly on that. Probably leave him, and I still haven't broken him down yet. Okay. All right, so let's go through where we at. Tight end. Oh, okay. Well, this got signed. Gerald Everett's interesting. He'd be interesting for the Lions, even though their tight end is kind of full, so I don't really expect anything there. I mean, there's probably no other real big names. We saw. Now, I will say this: we did get to see get a nice little deal. Who was that? I saw that today. Oh, Drew Sample. I was kind of excited to see that because I think it was last year. Drew Sample was the guy who kept mocking to the Lions for mock off season, and that was because I was like, oh, blockers, high drafted. I remember liking him, and it looks like they liked him too. So it looks like he had a strong year. So while I was way off on Allen Robinson, I think I was closer on Drew Sample. All right, offensive line. So Bakhtiari would be the big one. We talked about Lakin. No one was feeling that. Andrews Pete. Maybe if the Lions go with like a bargain bin guy, they could go that way because he could play tackle and guard, even though I think he's pretty rough at guard. Connor Williams. Connor Williams signed, didn't he? Hold up. Is Connor Williams still a free agent? I looked in the did not. Okay, no. So Connor Williams would be a guy keeping an eye on too. So I brought up the two guards earlier. I would keep an eye on Connor Williams a little bit because Connor Williams, he played center and guard, and I have notes on him. So if we do sign him, I'm going to pull it up. But I remember Connor Williams, one of those guys that I was like, hey, this could be the end for a guard. I didn't fall in love with him though. So for whatever reason, I wasn't like really bought in, but he's someone to keep an eye on. And we have Kevin Zeitler, Jonah Williams. Yeah, he'll probably get paid just because where they're at. Hey, look, bro. I'm not hoping we do it, but there's connections. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta bring it up. You got and this is crazy, the truth. This is crazy. Um, he probably will. He probably will. But does that make him a better player? Not necessarily. What do you think about Fuller? I think Fuller's probably the best quarterback on the market in the right scheme. As an off coverage corner, ball skills, he's probably the best quarterback on the market, I would say. So I'm a big fan of him. He's 29 though. I don't think the Lions will be in the market for him, but he was really darn good and consistent. He was very consistent last season. A really, really poor defense. I was a big believer in Washington for a strong time there, and obviously that did not happen at all. What would you guys say if we drafted Blake Corum in the second if Ligo was gone? I don't think I would want to do that. And I'm not counting on anything. Pick the best player. I don't think I'd want to do it. Man, Blake Corum's awesome. But with our back, I wouldn't want to pick one in the second. I would think we could go somewhere else. Okay. Where is let me also check this out too. Chargers signing Will Dissly. AJ Epinesa is back. So that's the most recent deal, I think. Yeah. Oh, he had a nice deal too. He's probably 7 the first year. Can be worth 20 million max for the year. Not bad. He had a nice little payday. No news on the Lions. No news since Jonah Jackson not coming back. All right. Okay. Man. So yeah, we're pushing 6 p.m. I think we wrap this and then come back. I'm wondering if we should wrap the stream and then come back to it. I feel like as soon as I end it, something will happen, so it makes sense to. Okay, chat. I need you guys to help me with this. So if we go live the next few days, what time of the day does it matter? Is there a time of the day that y'all would prefer, like night, earlier, middle of the day, kind of like today? Let me know. Let me know, because then I can aim for that time. Because it's gonna be hard. You can't really project like when deals are gonna happen. So if I just plan to go live at a certain time, we can I can go around that time every day, afternoon. So kind of like today, to be honest. Okay. Oh, night. Because night. I mean, I feel like night would work best for most people, but at the same time, if I'm going at night, like deals will probably already be made, which I'm cool with. I'm cool with that. We can wait, get the deals done, come back, talk about them at night. I like the draft. Nothing else happened. Justin Jones, yeah, 3 years, 30 million to the Cardinals. All right. Other than that, I mean, so who's still on my wish list? Okay, let's do that. Let's wrap it up with that. So here we go. Wish list. Let's start with defensive lineman. For me, top of my defensive lineman wish list, chat. Number 1, DJ Reader. Number 2, Eric Armstead. Number 3, I would probably say, um, I'm actually gonna go and change it up. I'm gonna say number 3. Hold up, what's his name? Daquan Jones. I'll put at 3. Number 4, I'll put Sheldon Rankins. Number 5, I'll put Leonard Williams from the Giants. Let's see. Number 6, I'm gonna I'll put I'll put Tier Tart at 6. I'll throw Ashawn Robinson in there. Let me get a John Jenkins one time. And I feel like at that point we're kind of talking about depth pieces. So that's where I'd kind of rank those. That's where I think I'd go. Wait, you just did that? Did that just happen? Marcus Davenport? Okay, someone just shared something with me, so I'm believing it. Hold up. Got some news. Yo, I was just about to end this thing too, bro. We got some news. The Lions, I'm gonna show this. I'll share it. Shout out to my man here. Appreciate you. Lions, oh my goodness. This thing is not this. Here we go. Lions have agreed to terms with defensive end Marcus Davenport on a 1-year deal. So he was with the Minnesota Vikings this past season, and he signed a proven deal with the Minnesota Vi Now, he's a former Saint, so there's a connection there. So he was a former Saint, and he was a high draft pick that never really lived up to that potential. Athletically, he has all the tools, has the traits, goes to the Minnesota Vikings, signs the short-term deal, doesn't pop with Minnesota. Their whole defense was kind of a mess, to be honest with you. Did not live up to that this past season. So he becomes a free agent again. I think last year he signed like a 1-year, $10 million deal. I can double check. He signed a pretty good deal. And a lot, it was all projection based. And I he did not live up to it. I think DJ Wadham may have actually had more snaps than Marcus Davenport ended up actually having. Yeah, he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. He had a $6.8 million void year. So he signed a massive contract for one season to prove it. Did not hit with the Minnesota Vikings. Became a point where I think DJ Wadham ended up getting more snaps than he did, and it just did not work out. So now he's set to become a free agent again, kind of back into that proven mode. And here the Lions are. Now, what I know, and I feel bad because I didn't watch enough of this player, but what I know from Marcus Davenport is, like I said, the traits, the athleticism. He checks a lot of boxes in terms of the potential that's there. It's almost similarly in a way I say to like Charles Harris, who was the former first round pick, but more so of like the length. For example, like Lions love length and defense front. He brings that much better size as well. He just hasn't put it together yet. So you haven't had any kind of consistency in the NFL. So speaking to what the Lions have done the last years in free agency, this is exactly what they do every free agency. I mean, this is what they do. Yes, even coming out of UTSA, he wasn't consistent. So this is what they do. They sign these guys with upside, still young enough to potentially be a future piece, and they're going to give it a proven deal. This is exactly what the Lions have done over the last few seasons. Now they're doing it as a pass rusher, and I would say it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you just from an initial reaction, and when I get off, I'll start to watch him. But if you really looked at who was on the market, right? Bryce Young didn't. Chase Young, we talked about him a little. Jonathan Greener was off the board. Stephen County would have been the vet. I didn't really care for him. Josh Uche. So once you start to get down to like Josh Uche, who's a big pass rusher, can't play the run. Anthony Jennings, good run defender, can't rush the passer. You start to get into a lot of those like specific players. So it's like the gap between either I'm paying a big time pass rusher, Danielle Hunter, and he still could, I guess, a ton of money, or I'm coming down and I'm paying like a guy that can play like a specific role, but it hasn't connected in the NFL. We know edge rushers, their value are high. So you're talking about a guy here that already got that proven deal, but because he's at this position, if it was last year, you'd be talking to easily over 10 million cap it. This year it may have dropped because he wasn't good this past year either. So I would assume that this is one of those spots where you're getting him at a much better price because he's signing essentially a second proven deal, I would assume. So it makes a ton of sense to what the Lions do. And it's also not a move because someone just asked Kaminsky. Yeah, Kaminsky's he's flexible. His contract's flexible. But it's also not a deal that's potentially going to immediately like replace somebody. It leaves the opening for Josh Pascal, John Kaminsky. It leaves openings for guys to step in and play. You still have that role where if someone else beats them out, they can just take that job. It doesn't put someone in front of those players. But on the flip side, it still leaves the upside potential where if he played well, they could probably step back and decide to re-sign him, like they did, for example, with Charles Harris after he had a really good first season here. So we saw with Kaminsky, this is definitely on a higher note because of the former draft pick that he was. This is a guy with much more traits and much more talent tied to him. So it makes tons of sense. This is a Lions type of deal. This honestly doesn't surprise me at all. I wish I would have dove into this player this morning. I'm telling you, I looked at this guy's name. I passed on it. So I'll have to dive on to it. Yes, Kaminsky's on the last year of his deal. He also has 4.6 million saved to cut. I think like 1.7 dead. He's got a real out this year. I don't think they'll move off him. But when you want length, they want size. This is exactly what a Lions type of deal would be. So this is exactly what you would expect from a Lions deal. I don't think there's much of a surprise here. He hits, you got an awesome pass rusher with all the traits that you could ask for. If he doesn't, prove a deal that the Lions gave out to him. They give him a 4-2 guy with injury history. So there you go. Makes a ton of sense from that sense. Plus, it'll also probably leave the Lions financial flexibility where you guys are saying bring up Daniel Hunter. But also, like I said, I think for me, the priorities are cornerback and interior defensive line on defense first, and also guard. It still would probably leave them flexibility to still hit on those. But also what this does, chat, is it's going to make him earn it, where if you're looking at this, let's just line this up. The priority of free agency to me, and I believe the Lions, was not about what can we add in free agency necessarily. Priority was we have to get our guys extended. Amon-Ra St. Brown's coming up, going to get a huge deal. one of the highest paid receivers in football. Potentially Jared Goff, gonna get a lot of money. Potentially a Lee McNeil, who absolutely should. I don't know where his price point's gonna fall. I probably value it much higher than maybe the NFL will. I think he's gonna get a nice deal. So the priority was first extending our guys. That's not gonna be the priority just this year. That's gonna be priority next year. Penei Sewell, big contract on the way. That's gonna be priority next year. Is how they're trying to build this thing. So giving a prove it deal gives them that flexibility where they could also step back and say, if it doesn't work, we're not pushing a whole bunch of money into those years where all of a sudden these contract extensions are going to start to line up with this free agent that we paid. He instead is going to have to come in, play well to earn an extension, and then the Lions can decide he played well enough. He can start to get himself into a window where he can be part of the core pieces. But he's not going to immediately be thrown into a core piece spot where, for example, say it was Daniel Hunter, he gets a 3-year deal. Year one, he's in. All of a sudden, his contract's going to start to hit as soon as your extensions do. So it does leave the window open where the Lions can still lean on extensions are priority, extending our guys, but we also still get that prove-it deal. And this is what they've done for the last 3 years, but it's really, to me, going to become significant because over the next however many years we go on, all these draft classes that are starting to get paid, they're going to be the priority every time we hit free agency. That's going to be the priority first. So, yes, look, edge rushers get paid a ton. Like, the idea of a guy like DJ Reader will probably make a significant amount less than Danielle Hunter. Yet, I would argue, if not for him ending the season on an injury, he, to me, would be a better signing at his position than Danielle Hunter would be at his position. That would be my argument. That's fine if you disagree, to me personally, from what I've seen from both players. But the pricing on that edge versus interior line, massive gap. We know that. So you have a guy like Dorrance Armstrong, right, who doesn't consistently play on the field, gets a 3-year big deal. This is probably one of those free agents that was able to play into a 1-year deal because a lot of dudes at edge, they're just going to get paid a ton of money. You could be inconsistent. You're going to get a ton of money. Bryce Huff, he's not really that consistent. He's going to get a ton of money. Edge rushers get paid. So this is one of those guys that actually falls into the market that probably doesn't need to get the long-term big guarantees. So it's a Lions signing. Makes a ton of sense. 1-year deal. Absolutely. And I like it on the surface. I don't think there's going to be much risk to this. It's like one of those what the Lions do. High reward, low kind of risk deal long term, because that's what the Lions focus is going to be, is how they set these contracts long term. But I have no issue with it. I mean, I can't have an issue with it. I know there's a lot of talent there. I know he's got the body type. It's just him connecting or not. We'll have to dive into it. But I'm going to leave chat. If that's all the news we have, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to watch a little bit of Marcus Davenport. This won't be my full breakdown because I'm not going to have time. I want to make sure that we can get the news out. But we're here live, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Marcus Davenport. We'll revisit this probably a little bit later, do a full breakdown on this player. And, we'll continue to keep up free agency. If more things happen, we may end up going live again, so stay tuned for that. But likely going to be live again tomorrow. There is more news. Chat, what's the news? What's the news, bro? I don't want to end early. What is the news? Nah, stop. Stop playing. Y'all can't just be putting DJ Reader in the chat like that. Hold up. Y'all gonna make. Oh my goodness. Chat, what's the news? Oh, okay. Jordan Poyer. Okay. All right. He said it's Jordan Poyer. So they added the Buffalo. I think it was with Buffalo last year. Right? Okay. Yeah, he was with Buffalo last year. Is that the news? Hold up. You got me? It's not Jordan Poyer, or is it Jordan Poyer? Wait, I'm out. What? Did anything happen, chat? All right, y'all playing. I don't know if anything happened, so I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Keep in mind they do have that connection with the past, and we know that they. Who is this? This is not real, chat. This is not real. I don't know who this is. Is this real? Lions have strong interest. Okay, I did read that. They have strong interest. Lots of non-serious stuff happening. All right, we're good. Well, it does say DJ Reader Lions have interest. y'all, man. I appreciate him being like, no, this ain't nothing happening, man. Okay, I'm gonna assume nothing's going down. I haven't seen anything new since that deal that we just made happen. You'll say if it happens, I appreciate it. All right, we're gonna wrap this thing. I'm gonna get that video out. Stay tuned for that. We'll be live again probably pretty soon. Appreciate y'all joining, man. Praise continues tomorrow as well. We got Carlton Davis. I This can't be a real person. Hold up. Oh, hold up. That's not a real person, dog. That's not a real person, dog. All right. Not a real person on that. That's a 3 year 60 mil. Oh, wait, yo, we did just get a deal. Hold up. Wait, no, the Lions just traded for Carlton Davis. Hold, all right. Wait. So the Detroit Lions, according to Tom Pelissero, are acquiring cornerback Carlton Davis, and it's going to be via trade. Obviously because he's still under contract for this team. This was something that was listed 2 days ago. I think they put out there that both him and Jamel Dean were on the trade market, and now it's been released. Lions are making the trade. Carlton Davis is going to be a Lion. I think he's like 28 years old. I believe he missed some time this past season. The Lions have now gotten their veteran or upside edge rusher and stabilized the cornerback position with improved corner. So it is a trade. All right, we were on board with saying it was a trade. I was expecting it to be a trade. They went with Carlton Davis, and I don't think Davis is going to take that much. I don't think Carlton Davis is going to cost that much, man. I'm going to be honest with you. It's official. This is Tom Pelissero chat. Carlton Davis is the Detroit Lions. I don't think this is going to cost maybe a fourth round. To be honest, I don't think this is going to cost that much. I mean, I'll say this: he was for a long time the number one corner the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we know that. I have not seen anything on DJ Reader. Oh, I haven't seen anything on DJ Reader, but yeah, we just got a trade. I just went out and got a corner. Let me see. I don't think so. No, I think DJ Reader is just an idea. I don't think anything's happening there. He's 27. Okay, I thought okay. So yeah, he's right in that range. No, no, DJ Reader isn't a thing. It's not a thing. People are just talking on Twitter. Also, I was signed as a kicker as well. So we got 3 things that just popped off. All right, there you go, Carlton Davis. Like I said, he was their top outside corner for a little while. He didn't have the best last season, though. I'll say that their cornerback position was kind of a mess this past season between him, Jamel Dean. We got to see Zion McCollum step in at time out wide for them, but he is a wide corner. It's actually funny because Speak Easy asked me about this guy on their live show, someone that they might go after, and I'm trying to think back. I would have. Here, let me do this. I'm gonna do it because we're live. Before we get off, because we're live. I don't think he played against us. I don't think he played against us when we played them in Tampa Bay last year. I don't think he did. I'm trying to see. Did I talk about him? I don't think he did. Okay, let me chat. Stick with me 1 second. I'm gonna before we get off. I don't wait. I remember focusing on Zion McCollum. That would be my best. Let's see. Let me say 27. Man, I was really about to end the stream and 2 things just happened. Oh no, he did play. He did play. He did play us the first time. Maybe he didn't play us in the playoffs. Okay, let me do this because he did play us the first time, which means that I would have had to have talked about it. Oh, hold on, I'm just gonna like I didn't mean to open that up. As soon as I open OBS on accident, man, everything lags. All right, let me okay. So, yeah, all right. I was trying to see chat if I had something specifically that I could pull up about this player. He did. Wait. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. So, chat, this is gonna sound really weird. So, here's what I'm gonna throw up on the screen right now. Um, we signed two guards in the corner. Okay, so I'm gonna I want to show this. So, this is I don't know what I'm talking about in this video. To be honest, I have no idea. But I know this is about the second time that we played this team. And what I can do is if I see what coverage I was talking about them playing, I can know what he did stylistically. I just want to see what I say. They like the blitz. Okay. Yeah, if they like the blitz, that fits our scheme. Aggressiveness. Oh, bro. Wait, wait. I'm gonna let this continue. Let this continue in a second. Oh, there was no sound there? Okay, I'll get the sound on, my bad. So, basically what I said there, and if you guys couldn't hear it, and I'll let this continue, I'll unmute it, I apologize. Basically, I was trying to see what I said about what happened the first time we played Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and one of my first takeaways that the Detroit Lions play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were heavy blitz team, which, as we know, they are. Their head coach this past season, Todd Bowles, he's a heavy, very aggressive defensive mind, and because of that, they're gonna be a very aggressive defense, so they blitz a ton, as I brought up, which as we know, going into that Tampa game, I remember that was one of my biggest concerns was we have to run the ball in this team. We have to stay out of obvious pass downs because they can open everything up defensively. So they have that ability. Defensively to be a problem if you get into passing spots. Which the main thing that I brought up there was they're a heavy blitzing team, which fits into what we do stylistically, whether that's the coaches that we've hired, heavy blitzing, coaches. But then there's also the aspect of I brought up they play a lot of cover three. Lions did a lot this past season, right? A lot of those half turn looks in coverage defensively, and a lot of single high safety, as we also saw with Kirby Joseph being that free safety, and also a lot of cover zero. Again, two things that we do, which means a lot of times when we play cover zero, especially on third down, you're playing off man coverage, which tells me that I believe stylistically, he probably did a lot of similar things to what Cam Sutton does well. So he likely fits in stylistically very similar to what we already have with a guy like Cam Sutton. He probably fits that mold really well, and he's probably going to mesh well just based on that alone. That's the first thing that I want to see. I just want to see what I had to say about this. We also see make sure you guys can hear this. So all this is my Can I unmute this? So he's at the bottom of the screen, 24 here. Be right here. See him on Khalif. See him on Khalif here, chat. Come on now. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to see what I say here. Matchups. So I talked about Jamel Dean. I called Jamel Dean sluggish and high cut at the top of the route. Okay. I want to see if I talk about Carlton Davis. That was Jamel Dean. This is when so all right. I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna leave this here, chat, because it's probably really hard for you guys to pick up what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know it's muted. That's like a weird thing because it's like how you're sharing it. I don't think it can present with audio unless I share audio, tap, share a tab screen instead. What? Oh, I gotta share the entire screen? Okay, I can do that. Trade details just announced. Bucks get a 2024 third round pick from Detroit. Lions get Davis and the Bucks Lions get Davis and the Bucks 2024 sixth and 2025 sixth. Okay. Okay, wait, no, so that actually makes sense then. Hold up. That actually makes sense then because that's basically a fourth round pick, right? You get two sixth round picks in return. 2024 sixth, 2025 sixth, and we get Davis. No, Davis and a third round pick from this year, which, chat, we have two third round picks. Well, now we have one third round pick. We have one third round pick now, but we had two third round picks. So we also don't have a fourth round pick. So we basically gave up one of our third round picks for a cornerback, which essentially could have just went right to this but honestly, we probably would have drafted one higher. I still think we'll probably draft a we should draft a cornerback. We got to get a young guy in that mix. But if we also look at and Chad, I figured out the sound thing. So he's on the final year of his contract, and 14 million of that base salary. Wait a minute. Hold up. This this might be a really cheap addition. I'm looking at this a little bit. Let me see. It'd be a really cheap addition if I remember correctly. If I look at this correctly, because essentially all base salary. Essentially all base salary. Now he's got two. He's got a couple of void years in there. So he's only under contract for this last year. Essentially, why he was traded. So, yeah. Daniel, let me check that real quick. Now returns to the Vikings. Okay, we know that. I don't know. I haven't seen anything on Daniel Hunter. It's just everybody's kind of waiting. Not a third rounder. Not a third rounder. We also get two sixth round picks too. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find the trade. Yeah. Here we go. Lions are trading the second of their third round picks this year. So the second of our third round picks, so a little bit later, which would be our third round pick this year for Carlton Davis, plus a 2024 sixth round and a 2025 sixth round pick. So we get two sixth round picks to get. Yeah, it's essentially almost like giving up a fourth round pick. So and we have two third round picks. So we have one third round pick. We keep the higher third round pick that we had through the TJ Hawkins trade, and they end up giving and they give us Carlton Davis plus a couple sixth round. Honestly, that feels like not a lot to give up because Greg Newsom, those would have been a really hefty amount. That wouldn't have been a lot to give up. And let me make sure it's yeah, yeah. No, that I mean that's not actually a lot to give up. To be honest with you, I don't think Okay, so that's essentially all I said about Carlton Davis. So I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, because I think if I yeah, I think if I don't know. I could probably try to find a first one, but honestly, I could probably use that for this video that we put together. So is Davis Bud? No, Davis ain't Bud. Like I said, he was their top cornerback for a while there, and then they added Jamel Dean, and then they had Zion McCollum, and Zion McCollum stepped in because of injuries. So I don't think Davis played this full season this past year. But from what I could tell from the preview, I didn't even talk about Carlton Davis, but I thought he was probably their best cornerback from what I could tell. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out. I mean, schematically speaking, just based on what I said in the preview from how I broke them down and what they do defensively, an aggressive defense that plays a lot of cover 3 and cover 0, that seems like a pretty good fit. I mean, it seems like a pretty good fit for exactly how we play in covers 2. Statistically speaking, I'll give you the numbers from this past season. Definitely not his best year, probably the reason that he got traded. 51 receptions of 79 targets to 64% completion percentage, as well as 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, 7 passes defended. All right, chat, hold up. Last thing I'll say this. What did we say last night? What did we say today about what they do for cornerback, right? We talked about press guys. We talked about guys playing it off-man zone. What will they probably value is ball skills. If you look at Carlton Davis, let's go through his stats the last couple seasons. This past year, 7 passes broke it up. Year before that, 10. Year before that, 10. Year before that, 14. Year before that, 18. In every single year since 2019, he's had at least 1 interception. 2 picks this last year, 1, 1, 4, 1. I think what you're seeing, even just from numbers alone, that ball skills are probably something that he's really, really good at. So, schematically speaking, it sounds like it's going to fit. And then there's also the aspect that he can take the football away from what we can tell. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to start to watch these players a little bit, give you guys a little video. We'll come back and always break down these players later. I'll see if I can get any more details on the contract or the trade details. But I think we have the trade details on it. And I'm going to leave it right there, man. Carlton Davis, trade, Lions add a cornerback. They also signed Marcus Davenport, the defensive end from the Minnesota Vikings / New Orleans Saints, where he was drafted with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn. I appreciate y'all joining, man. Stay tuned for those videos. Check them out. You guys saw the news here, but check out the videos. We'll see y'all soon, man. We out. More breaking news happens. We might jump live again, so stay tuned. Have a great rest of your day. Free to see continues tomorrow.